Articulate. Right, I'm sure you know. Articulate. Yeah. Liberal. Studio. Tree. Check it. So many open doors. It's hard to ignore. Every year was my year, but this year I'm sure. They're on a virtual tour. Girl, them a bubble to the floor. Every year was my year, but this year I'm sure. The storm is here, but it won't stay. Where there is a will, there must be a way. Me have to win, come what may. Clasp my hands every day, I pray. Nah, I can lose cause me not confused. Every time positivity me choose. So many open doors, it's hard to ignore. Every year was my year, but this year I'm sure. They're on a virtual tour. Girl, them a bubble to the floor. Every year was my year, but this year I'm sure. Lyrics are pour from me heart. Tunes for you climb up the chart. Destiny create me path. Remain humble, don't exalt. Lockdown life rough. We can't do too much. Wait till COVID up. A big dance we a bust. Make sure you prepare yourself. Cause when the clock strikes 12, things get dark, dark start back. You a go ball out hell. So many open doors, it's hard to ignore. Every year was my year, but this year I'm sure. They're on a virtual tour. Girl, them a bubble to the floor. Every year was my year, but this year I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll get started here. Thank you for joining us on New Year's Eve. Welcome to the Superledger podcast, episode number 6, New Year's Eve Town Hall. Again, so much like last week, we're going to provide once a month an open forum for anybody in the community to come on up, discuss whatever's on their mind, ask questions, tell us about what they're building, working on, whatever it is. It's for everybody. So please encourage you to utilize that forum when we have it. Everybody can learn and grow from everybody's contributions here. I'm your host, Chris, from Coreum Concepts on YouTube. Articulate, my co-host here today. He's got some great music that I was trying to share on OmniFlix, current campaign on there. We'll definitely be talking a bit more about that here today. And I'll be definitely giving away at least one of his NFTs here today. I'm excited about that. My partners and I at Coreum Community Dallas, Scott and Marco, started this podcast and are sponsoring this episode in an effort to create a space for everybody in the community to gather and share, learn, discuss with each other anything about Coreum, the XRP Ledger, IBC, Cosmos ecosystem. It's a large community, so there's a lot of information and knowledge out there to cover. I'm hoping to do as good a job as I can from this podcast here. So far, it's been a great response, very well received in a very short period of time. And by my schedule into January and February, a lot more exciting things coming. And in fact, next week, pleased to announce that Pulsera will be joining us here to discuss their project in greater detail, about the snapshot and the Sarah tokenomics and everything around that project. So that's going to be a very good podcast here next week, same time. Unfortunately, I didn't get that music on there, but I will be putting this up on YouTube as a replay to listen to also. So I will be putting Articulate's music on that there for sure. So with that, thanks for joining us and my co-host Articulate. Merry Christmas to you and happy holidays. Thank you for joining me again today.
Yes, yes, yes. Happy holidays to everyone. I know it's New Year's in some countries. It's already the New Year. Some countries it's still New Year's Eve. And we went through, a lot during this year in the Coreum community. I remember we went from, somewhere in 70 cents to 7 cents, and great time to accumulate and get some more Coreum. But through the highs and lows as the year ended, we definitely had some rollout of some very positive builds and news and projects being onboarded onto Coreum. So look forward to a great and bright 2024 as these projects get started on the Coreum network. If you guys want to come up and talk about anything, you could request to speak. Definitely a town hall open forums set up here today. But yeah, Brian, what's going on, man? Mac, I see you. Zero Cool, Camel. Um, Hope you guys are doing well and having a happy New Year so far. Happy holidays. Marco in the building.
Right on. Yeah, throw some mics down where needed. Anybody wants to come up. For myself, I'll quickly add here at the beginning, 2023 has been an amazing year for starting this channel. I just hit my 1 year mark in late December. And yeah, it's been a heck of an experience from going to Cornova to seeing this channel grow to starting the Coreum Community DAO, seeing that grow, being involved with multiple different projects and in multiple different ways, and just seeing that latest graphic put out by Coreum. It was quite an honor to see the Coreum Community DAO and Coreum Punks up there as part of that community on there. That's a great company to be in, we'll say, and I'm just very grateful for all the contributions from many of the people you see here in the room to help build all that in this past year in a bull market. It takes very special people to get things done and avoid all the snakes in the grass at the same time. It's been a wild year, and I can see the way this year is ending. 2024 is going to be even crazier and more enjoyable.
Camel, you took a mic. How are you, my brother?
Yeah, I'm doing well. How are you doing, guys? I'm very excited for 2024. So, Happy New Year, guys, and let's start this year full of pumps. Are you excited as well? Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. We are. And definitely it was a great year, even meeting yourself and seeing how engaged and excited you are, driving the Coreum community, building as well, starting validators. Um, it's been great seeing your growth in the community and what you have achieved, and looking forward to what you have for the next year coming.
Thank you so much. And I see a lot of people are starting to learn how delegation works. You know that some of people they don't know how to delegate because I faced that on my DMs. So I had taken some time, to explain to each one of them individually. You got what I mean? Especially in the Arabic community, they don't have the knowledge how to use the Cosmos Station or Leap Wallet due to the lack of the Arabic language support. So yeah, hopefully we can see more and more people jumping in.
Yeah, well, Camel, hats off to you for spreading the message across the globe there, not just to Saudi Arabia, but I see you have a heck of a TikTok presence growing there, also bringing eyes and people to the Coreum ecosystem. So I can see what you're doing out there. It's impressive, and just want to take this opportunity to thank you for everything you've done for Coreum and the community in the last year.
Thank you so much, Chris. And yeah, I think the Arabic community is massive, especially if they figure out how to uh, to jump into Coreum blockchain. If they figure that the majority they don't even know how to use the Zoom wallet. Actually, how about Coreum and transfer it from or bridge it from the Zoom wallet to Cosmos Station wallet? They don't. There is a lack actually of support, for this language. But hopefully we can see Corium getting listed in some of the major exchanges, and from there you can see the Arabic community jump in, uh, because they don't have that knowledge of wallets and things like that. I'm not talking about all of them, but the majority of them. And with Corium getting listed on one of the tier one exchanges, you can see Corium adoption everywhere. Uh, and yeah, I wish all of you a happy new year. Uh, and thank you, Chris. Thank you, Articulate. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for that, Camo. Definitely great to see your growth and your influence and what you'll bring forth coming. Brian, what's going on, man? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Articulate, Chris, Mackenzie, and Marco. Appreciate all and everything you guys do for the community for sure. Also wanted to say hey to Skills and to Maine Lobster Ryan. Nice to see you guys. Happy New Year, guys. I'm going to be out with my kids this afternoon. Just wanted to say Happy New Year and thanks for everything.
Appreciate you, Brian. Thank you for everything as well. And it was great for even myself meeting you this past year and just seeing how supportive and engaged you are in the community.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Skills, give him a follow for sologenic artwork and memes. He's definitely been in several of my videos for his work there, and appreciate his contributions to our space. Yeah, anybody wants to come up and share anything, doesn't have to be Coreum related, could be whatever is top of mind, a concern, question. I was actually trying to onboard my brother from the XRP ledger here today. Without any language barriers, he's still having troubles just over the phone. I actually had to tell him that I do have a YouTube channel with that video on it. He finally went and watched it, and yeah, it's there's a lot of education to do out there, and that's what we have this platform, the Discord for. It's another great place is in the Discord. If you haven't found your way there yet, encourage you to check that out. We're trying to build a central hub of information and resources, and a network of people. Like there's just a lot of people with a lot of knowledge and skills and project builders that you have direct access to ask questions. As we have a section there for IBC Network, and Cosmos have Chris from Fight Farms and Snails has got a project there, and actually listening to Camel there just talk about the language barrier, the lack of content. I was kind of thinking about Snails and his platform over on the IBC network there, and how that might fit in well, and same with our Discord section for other languages to kind of hang out.
Yeah, I put down a couple things to highlight today, because for 2023, we definitely also saw the birth of the term Superledger, where it concerns Coreum and what they're charting out to be in this space. And the European Blockchain Convention was one of those highlight moments as well for the team and the foundation, where they were pretty much the main sponsor, one of the main sponsors out there, and they were able to do a huge hackathon with developers, that they got so many good, great responses and ideas, that it was kind of hard to kind of like single out, and choose the winners and stuff. But I think we're gonna also see the onboarding of some of those projects in the new year, with regards to development and just new solutions that are going to be built and rolled out on the blockchain. We saw some team expansion as well, where the Coreum team brought on some new hires that have been just blazing the trail, and shining the light of Coreum and spreading the word, and showing up with regards to marketing and promotions and stuff. So definitely want to shout out the team for what they're doing in house to get the community excited, and looking forward to those listings and exchanges and all the stuff we have on the roadmap coming up as well.
Well, I've been following this project as closer than anybody since its inception, and the Coreum ecosystem graphic that they put out here just the other day, yesterday it looks like even, blew my mind. Just impressive to see the growth of this community and project, and it just launched in March. A lot of us have been following it a lot longer just because we're close to the XRP ledger side of it. But this blockchain went live in March, and here we are 8 months later, and looking at this graphic of what they've accomplished in this time, and the caliber of projects on here is impressive. You did a heck of a good thread on the band protocol and one of the oracles. That was one of the things that really jumped out at me when I first looked at it. And then the other thing that excited me was kind of another stamp that I was, on the right trail there with the ISO 222 and the trade header partnership there. So just impressive to see all this gathered on one visual to see where we've come in just 8 months.
Yeah, that was definitely a great uh, visual put together by the team. And yeah, when I saw the band protocol, I saw them hook up, or there a pair with them on Map of Zones. It's one of their peers. And I checked, I checked from time to time what Coreum, is who they're partnering with, or who they're, linking up with or integrating with. And it kind of stood out to me. I didn't understand what band was at the time or the role it would play, but seeing that graphic and seeing that it's one of the oracle, it is the oracle, and also the first oracle of the XRP ledger, that stood out to me. So I had to dig in and see what I could find where that is concerned, because what the role it would play, it will be a key factor in that interoperability um, feature that both ledgers will exhibit in this whole space. So it is the key mechanism that will give real time pricing real-time data, so the DeFi solutions could work when we start to bridge over XRPO native assets to the Coreum blockchain and through IBC. So it definitely plays a key factor, and I encourage you, if you can, just to check out that thread I did. It was like a super thread. I broke down both XRP and Coreum's integration, as Band is the first oracle on both blockchains. I had to kind of like put that out there so that we could have some more to work with. But I know there's more to find out as well, because it's just the start. I was checking out a few YouTube videos on their channel last night too, just to kind of have an idea. Still new to me, but I think that some of these integrations that Corium has on IBC is worth looking into, because we will have a better idea and understanding of um, what to expect, and also how to move. They gave us a hint with the USDC and Noble recently, and the role it will play in the airdrops as well. And Noble is one of the peers on in their integrations, and I believe that if we kind of follow the breadcrumbs and check out some of these protocols, we will, have not just a better understanding, but we will be able to, as parts of the community, whichever way or solution we are looking for, we will be able to kind of integrate that into our own building blocks and our own projects that we're doing. And just to name a few, we have Secret as one of them, Kijura is one of them, Gravity Bridge, Evmos, Didex, DYDX Protocol, XLR, Cosmos Hub, and Osmosis, along with Noble and Band. So take note of those if those are projects that you're currently investing in as well, but don't know that they're peers or they're integrated in Corium. Well, now you know. So I think that's key information to note as well.
Yeah, for sure. And with Pulsera coming up on the show here next week, I know you were kind enough to send me some screen share of the USDC, how to get that USDC in your Coreum wallet in time for this snapshot coming up. So I'm going to get that out as soon as possible. It's just been kind of crazy here with the Christmas break and having Sonia home after a few months away. But yeah, I'll have that out the next day or so for sure, because it's a powerful tool and it's needed, because I'm watching the IBC flows and like there's zero USDC moving back and forth every day from what I've been monitoring. So clearly a lot of people are going to want to utilize this before the snapshot, just a few weeks away. And I'm suspecting after the podcast next week, when Pulsera is here, there's going to be a heck of a lot more interest in it. So it might be something that those listening here might want to jump onto a little bit ahead of time to get a feel of that.
Yeah. It so I'm the type of person, like, when they mentioned that on the podcast, I went digging, of course, and I just had to find out what was needed, what was necessary to get it done. And they're definitely dedicating a chunk of the airdrop to USDC holders on the Corium um, network. So not just you'll be able to get airdrop for your Coreum, but if you hold Coreum on USDC on your Coreum blockchain, you will be getting a dedicated portion of that airdrop as well. So you could double what you get airdrop wise for the Sarah token. So when Chris drops that video in the next day or two, I definitely advise you, if you are interested in that, because they are looking to us to use that USDC to provide liquidity on the Coursera DEX. So you could also benefit from being a liquidity provider and also getting Sarah tokens as a part of the airdrop. So definitely encouraging you, if you can, if you have the money or the wherewithal to do it, as Chris said it, and as I noticed myself, there is zero activity. There's no one converting any USDC to onto the Coreum blockchain right now. There's zero activity, so there's a wide open lane right now for that where that is concerned.
Yeah, there's no financial advice on this podcast ever, but there's 10 million Pulsara or Sarah tokens that are set aside for USDC snapshots. So as it stands, it's going to be divvied up by a very small pool of people. So again, I suspect that'll change after next week when some more attention's given to it. But yeah, just good to get in there a little early before the crowd is what I like to do. So, and there's going to be other valuable reasons to have USDC in your wallet. It's a great video that you sent me. We're still a long ways from being real user friendly. It's not terribly complicated, but at the same time, it's certainly not a simple process that some people are going to enjoy doing. But for those that like to play around with that, and once you have the explainer video, it's pretty straightforward. But yeah, you'll definitely be in good shape to do that. There's a lot of people that haven't utilized the IBC connection with Coreum yet, and that'll change. And it's up to us to kind of get out there and play with it and show everybody what it can do and help them find their way over.
Yeah, and how about that post Coreum put up recently about the fact that there are already 37 million Coreum tokens that were bridged over to mainnet. That's pretty significant as well. That shows that people are paying attention in terms of bridging over their Coreum to the mainnet. Maybe not just for the snapshot for the airdrop, but maybe for the staking. People want to participate in getting that close to 30% APR on their tokens. So that's a good place to start. But I think that more and more people from, especially the XRP community, are paying attention to what Coreum is doing and what they're building. And there's a big talk about the AMM in the XRP community, and the fact that I think Ripple had changed their vote to no because of something that they had found with their validator. So, people are asking questions. But as Reza was saying a few weeks ago on the podcast here, whether the AMM is ready on the XRP ledger or not in a few weeks, when Pulsara goes live and they have that two-way bridge, you will be able to participate in DeFi features with your XRP native assets. So that's something to look forward to as well.
Yeah, that's what I've been in a few XRP theme spaces here lately, and trying to explain to people that DeFi is here. Within a few weeks, it's going to be ready to go, and nobody can give me a date or a timeline that's very precise on the XRP ledger when that's going to be available through the AMMs or the EVM chains that are building over there. And you look at the difference in wallets, like 40,000 Evernote wallets and 10,000 Zaha wallets. And, we're still at, I think, below 5,000 staked on Coreum. So there's a lot of people that are not quite understanding what's going on over here. And I think once the reality sets in somewhat, once, a month from now when we're using these tools actively, and they're still waiting for that AMM vote to go through, there's going to be a lot of people rushing in and going to need, some guidance on what this Cosmos ecosystem looks like to onboard. Because, the AMM vote's a long ways off, because even once it reaches its threshold, you need 2 solid weeks with it maintaining that. So, we're a long ways out, in my opinion, from an AMM on the XRP ledger, though I do look forward to it.
Yeah, just a reminder if anyone wants to come up and speak, it's the last podcast of the year. So, definitely wishing everyone here as a part of the community a happy new year and a prosperous one. And if there's anything you want to mention, highlight of 2023, the floor is open. But yeah, we'll just continue to bring up some things that have been highlight moments in the Coreum community. And one recently I found was the bounty, the Learn to Earn bounty that Coreum launched. That not both developers and non-developers can participate in and earn some Coreum as rewards. So they have a couple things listed here in terms of uh, developer and also non-developer. So you could write articles. You could also develop um, smart contracts and web applications, and get rewarded, and even do video with regards to using a wallet and stuff and get some Coreum. So I put it up on the top right there. I think they call it the Jumbotron. So you could click the link and go through, set up your account with Dora Hacks, and see if there's anything there that you would want to participate in and earn some Coreum.
Yeah, it's a great tool to learn to earn, right? You don't necessarily have to know the content to go in and write an article on how to use Cosmos Wallet. You can go do that research for your own benefit and just share it. And that one's worth 175 Coreum. So yeah, interesting, and it's great to see the on the other end of it, the hackathon for developers too. They're being fairly aggressive with that. So that's just another thing to give us confidence in that people are incentivized to test this network and strain it and break it and everything. So that's the other thing. If you guys want to just come up and share 2024 predictions, certainly do that, whether it be price or life or project, whatever it is. The floor is open. Invited Marco up. I was hoping Marco would come up and tell us a bit about what we can expect with CAF here in 2024. Recently introduced, we're going to have an appearance of CAF on the omniflix.tv on my channel here soon. We're working on the details of that.
Here's everybody.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Yeah, so let me just touch a little bit about CAF. The idea behind CAF is pretty much he is an educational robot, and he's going to be talking about the Coreum ecosystem. Just educating people that are in Coreum and that are not in Coreum, but really simplifying it to where everyone can understand.
Kind of like when you get that request to break it down. Tell me about it like I'm 5. That'll be the goal for CAF to break it down for us folks that need that special treatment.
Exactly.
That's
Well,
oh, go
looks
ahead.
really good, Marco. The work you put in is it's really showing nice, and look forward to more CAF videos in 2024 for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy. And just so everyone knows, CAF is agnostic bot, right? So don't be surprised if you see him talking about other projects or other chains, in the Cosmos.
And I think on the educational standpoint, as Chris was talking to earlier, there's definitely a gap where regards to the learning curve, as you're saying that people interacting with the Cosmos wallets, platforms, this whole DeFi space. I think CAF is going to definitely play a huge role in helping people use these protocols and also learn about them. So looking forward to CAF and the role that he'll play in the ecosystem as it grows and CAF grows with it.
Yeah, and I should mention for those just joined, in case I realize it's New Year's Eve, some might have to get away. Drop a comment in the comments below there. You'll be entered to win a Articulate NFT from Omniflix. I have a Howdy Neighbor NFT, the first song he dropped, but he currently has a campaign on at the moment. You might want to speak more to that in detail, articulate. But anyways, if you win this, if you go on OmniFlix in short order, you'll actually get a second song by holding this one. So I wanted to play that song to open the podcast here today. Unfortunately, the soundboard didn't work, but yeah, articulate. Don't be use a space to tell us about that. You got something very impressive being built on OmniFlix there.
Yes, thank you, Chris. So, and thank you again for inviting me and pointing me in the direction of OmniFlix. I've definitely not been disappointed at all, being more impressed. But pretty much, I had dropped a music NFT a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago. And what I've decided to do leading up to the start of 2024 is to just reward my holders, people who are early supporters of my project or of my music and what I'm doing. And I dropped an exclusive song that's not available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere else but OmniFlix. So if you are a holder of my Howdy Neighbor NFT, you will be able to claim my new song called I'm Sure. And it's kind of like, a message to, even though things are going on right now that may be worrisome or tumultuous, economic uncertainty, we can step into 2024 and be sure, especially holding core. You know what I mean? But I just wanted to, give back to my supporters. And that claim is live until Friday, the 5th. And if you, there's still some more Howdy Neighbor NFTs available. You could purchase it and also go redeem the second song. But we're gonna be giving away a few today on the show. But yeah, I the first reggae artist on Omniflix, and I'm proud to definitely be a part of that network and that protocol. I definitely see a bright future with what they're building. And if you guys are available as well on Wednesday, I'll be doing there's their 100th episode of the Flix Talk. I'll be one of their guests on there for an exclusive interview. So I'll be posting the link and stuff where that is concerned. But definitely glad to be a part of the Coreum community DAO, and that's something that happened for me this year as well. The latter part where now part of the Coreum community DAO family, and what they have been building. I've been, a supporter as an outsider looking in, but definitely impressed with what we're building and what will be rolled out in the new year. So definitely uh, hats off to you guys, and I'm glad to be on the team and looking forward to continue to build with you guys and help to provide utility, use case, education, engagement into the Coreum community and onwards. Thank you.
And I appreciate you, Articulate. Glad to have you on the team, man.
Thank you, Marco.
Yeah, it's been a great finish to the year. So much positive momentum for sure, and it's great that this song came out. I so wish I could have played it because it, to me, it does serve as a great song and an anthem to go into a new year with this new blockchain and the community around it. It's perfect. So I'll definitely be giving it lots of attention on my channel. I have several of those NFTs, and I look forward to sharing that for sure. And the other thing too is I've been using OmniFlix.tv for putting videos out, but I haven't issued any NFTs. So when I participated in your campaign to claim the free second song there, I was very impressed on that whole process. That was the first time I utilized the campaign feature, and they did send that out to me, saying, "Hey, we got this." This feature where to use here to try it out. So unfortunately for me, I can't just jump into that right now because I haven't actually issued any NFTs off that platform. I only create NFTs for my video content. So now that I've seen that, I'm excited to utilize that. And then they're bringing DAO tooling into OmniFlix here soon, and yeah, it's just great. The community's provided me the ability to hang around with a lot of powerful technologies and builders and leaders, thought leaders like yourself articulate. It's truly blessed. That's kind of been my theme for 2023, if I could say so. It's just been a true blessing of a year for me, all the way around with the channel, and making some powerful acquaintances with the team. What we have here now, many of the people in the room here today, actually. It's been definitely a life-changing experience for the better, and I just know with the foundation that we've set, we got a great year ahead coming. So.
That is a fact. That is a fact. Um, Another highlight I remember, I think that happened earlier this year, was that liquidity pool that Coreum established with Osmosis Zone, where you could, participate in that AMM protocol and, earn some from fees and so forth. And, as as you cautiously, hint at, Chris, sometimes is that, you have to definitely be careful with the AMMs and what happens with impermanent loss and stuff like that. So if you are more expert and know how to work these things, that's something that's out there as well. I think that's a big partnership because from what I see, Osmosis is one of the bigger, more dominant protocols in the Cosmo ecosystem, and for Coreum to have that pool set up already, heading into next year into the bull run and stuff like that, I think that is very significant where that is concerned. So if that's something you're looking to participate in, I think that was a huge one as well, with regards to just visibility and establishing Coreum, right up there with the top names.
Yeah, and a word of caution too, just because I've seen some people strategizing for this upcoming snapshot, because when you do uh, put into liquidity pools on Osmosis, it's a 14-day lockup there, not the 7-day like delegating on the Coreum network. So I think the January 4th is going to be a very active day of people with pulling out their liquidity to get it back to Coreum for the snapshot there in time. So watch those dates on the 4th, and then 14 days later on the 18th. AMMs, when there's a lot of volatility, could be good, could be bad, I guess. But if you're involved in that, just something to be wary of, that there is people that are strategizing on timing that for snapshots. So.
Yep. And that's a very good point. And um, as we're talking about, the liquidity pools and the AMMs and the DEXs and stuff, I know that apart from Pulsera, we also had DeFi Hub, who has a testnet out right now where you could participate. And I'm not sure if there's incentives involved with this, but you can definitely try to start learning what to expect when they launch sometime in Q1. And I think it's going to be a very huge deal with regards to Whelp and what they're building. And I've had the chance to mess with it a little bit. They do recommend using the Kepler wallet, but I ventured out and tried the Leap wallet, and it works seamlessly as well. So I am definitely looking forward to what they're building. And as everyone was suspecting with the Christmas tree that Corium posted, they had the bids under there. They had Whelp, they had Pulsera, Guild Hub, and a couple others, but yeah, Coreum is coming with the gifts, and next year I think they're going to hit the ground running with the rollout of some of these projects, which are not just going to be projects that are grant related projects, but projects who are coming through with the core nest arm of things, the VC arm of things. So solid projects, solid movements happening on the Coreum ecosystem, solid developments, and a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, and I'm with you,
Yeah, and
Articulate, because I think it's best to get familiar with these kind of things. I mean, regardless if there's an incentive or not, it's just good to get familiar with it. I mean, that's one of the things I'm most excited about is just I see Whelp is under DEXs, lending, borrowing, and liquid staking. So one of the things I'm excited about is just the lending part. Like if I can, use my Coreum as a collateral to take out a loan. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but that's one of the things I'm most excited about is playing with that.
yeah, and we know we have bids launching here soon also. And if I'm looking at this ecosystem graphic, they're listed under there as a DEX also. And then under infrastructure, interestingly enough, you have Lunar Space, Zeev, all nodes. Not too sure who that bottom logo is, but then you have the coming soon. So we have another infrastructure partner clearly coming on board soon, and then a custody partner also coming in soon. So yeah, definitely some interesting things ahead. I think custody is a big part of the tokenization. I think that's why the coming soon's in gold. I think that's a big part of the equation here.
That's 100%. And I believe that what Coreum is doing, they're going to be playing a huge role where regards to tokenization, and also not just tokenization, but fractionalization, bringing DeFi attributes to tokenized assets, especially on the XRP ledger and Solargenic, and IBC enabled projects and programs. So I see Coreum as that, that hub that is going to make things more interoperable and seamless, and partnering with protocols like Band as their oracle. I think it's some solid outcomes will come from that. There's something I did notice under the tree, the Christmas tree that Coreum posted a few weeks ago as well, and that is squid. We don't talk about that much, but Squid is apparently a router. So they help link the EVM enabled projects to the Cosmos. So I think that's something worth looking into as well. I don't hear much mention about it, but I think it's going to be a key aspect in bringing interoperability to the blockchain space.
And I fell away from XLM ecosystem a couple of years ago. I just haven't been tracking it closely, but I've heard that Whelp is also about to launch, or maybe even at the same time, a DEX on Stellar. The last I heard, I think when I was in Discord, it doesn't seem like they're meant to interoperate, or at least being said that they are. Do you know anything about that?
No, not to my. I've definitely heard that a few times, but I've not heard more, looked more into it. But that would be very interesting if that's not an option, or if that's the case. Yeah, that would be very interesting.
Yeah, and real quick, Zen did an excellent video on how to get your testnet tokens over to Whelp. I posted the video up top, so if anyone hasn't played with that yet, please check it out.
Yeah, and Articulate, I don't know if you posted your OmniFlix link up there, but please do. I'm bad at being able to share stuff up there. I haven't quite figured that out yet. Anybody wants to come up, open floor. No limits to what can be discussed or projects or anything else. I see got NTO here listening. Zero Cool, you're welcome. Come on up.
I'm just excited, man. I've watched this ecosystem grow, and seeing the graphic just gave me a boost of energy, and looking forward to um, what is going to unfold in 2024 and beyond, and knowing that 2024 is going to be that 1 year point of Coreum being on mainnet, and also the fact that they have already had so much development done already before that. It could only set up for a like a rocket ship scenario, with the role they're going to be playing both in the Cosmos ecosystem, the XRP ledger, the EVM, that hub, the role they're playing right there. I think what they've already accomplished. There's going to be just a speed, like a, a blast off moment where things pick up very, very fast, and I think that's why they're getting their stuff in a row, making sure that we are all understanding what's about to happen, giving us the opportunity to be a part of this moment as well, especially their first decks with Pulsera launching in a few weeks. We're going to be the supportive backbone of that solution, as well as token holders. It's going to be an decentralized autonomous situation, so it's more of a DAX situation. And if you are understanding the gravity of what that is, you're definitely in a great place being a Coreum holder. And I just want to just keep emphasizing to you guys that there's a lot to look forward to, and I don't hear it's mentioned enough, but I know there's a lot of people coming from other ecosystems to take advantage of this airdrop coming in a few weeks. But as the fine print says, if you move more than 10% of your airdrop or your Coreum, you're going to be disqualified for the other airdrop. So there's going to be 4 of the Pulsera tokens throughout 2024, and they're looking for that stable um, support to launch these projects and have them sustain and run and not dump. So it is in your best interest as well, because I think there's going to be a lot of value that comes from just holding and participating, and not being just a person that take advantage and dump their bags and stuff. But I think there's a lot to look forward to. I know there are events coming up in February in LA, Coreum related, that as a community we could gather and just celebrate what is happening in the space. And I think that the more we come together and the more we build as community outside of the foundation, I think that is what the value is, and I think that's what the foundation is saying to us, with directly and indirectly. So I think the more we interoperate as community members, the more we are building solutions together. I think the more Corium wins as a whole. So with that being said, I see Zen is joining us.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, welcome. Nice to see you here. Quite the honor to have you join us. Congratulations on crossing 30 million Corium staked on your validator, being number 1 validator. Heck of an accomplishment. I've been following you since you first brought up the idea of running a validator on Corium, and great to see you not just accomplish your goal, but absolutely hit it out of the park.
Yeah, man. Well, I just heard you guys talking about the event, and I see some of the Coreum Punk NFT holders in the chat. So, yeah, we're actually working together with Coreum Punk's NFT team, and building a relationship with them. They're really cool guys, and they're gonna be coming to LA. And I heard they're gonna be giving some like special NFT to everybody that comes. So, then also the Coreum team's going to come support the whole event and give these proof of attendance NFTs, and like we could basically everyone that comes going to get this like special edition soulbound NFT. And yeah, so Coreum Punks, they have I think like almost 500 holders in their collective, and they're all going to be able to come to the event and get some free drinks and free food and engage with all these cool Web3 projects. And it's going to be really exciting. So I'm really excited about it. And it's going to be right after that Pulsera airdrop. So the community should be pretty abundant. It should be a good time that people could make the trip. Or is anybody up on stage going? I see Mackenzie. Mackenzie's going for sure. I think Marco is too.
Yeah, I'm going, and I just want to say appreciate all the hard work you do, Zen. I really do, man.
Well, we went through a pretty. It was a pretty hard year in 2020. It's kind of like, we've been talking about the sunflower seed, and we had these seeds, these IOU tokens, and everyone's like, not everyone sees what could potentially grow from the seed, right? And then like we had a really hard bear market, and now we're starting to see like the seed that we got as an airdrop as a gift start to blossom and become something, and we see like there's so much more people talking about Coreum. Like I know a lot of you guys in this chat has been like Coreum, this hidden gem. Now you see all Cosmos community talking about it. It's like almost trending on Twitter as a topic, and we kind of seen the benefits of this free gift that we got way back. And I think by February, we're gonna have a Dex live, we're gonna have the two-way bridge, we're gonna have all types of things going on, and like everyone's focused on the Sarah airdrop right now. And in my personal opinion, it would be very stupid and ignorant for Whelp not to airdrop the community. So I could almost guarantee that Whelp's also going to airdrop us. So like we're going to have so much abundance coming in, and then like these meetups are going to be pretty fun, like to see what kind of happens. And like the team Coreum, like I guarantee everybody in this chat has their own vision of what they want to see happen on Coreum, and like what they want to see built, and like what better time to come and like talk to Fabio, talk to the Coreum team direct. The devs, some of the devs like Giovanni are going to be there. You'd be like, pitch your ideas to Giovanni right there, and maybe he likes it. And like that's the whole point of like it's fun to celebrate going through a very hard year, 2023, and now like we're winning. Like that's all cool, but like the main purpose of the event is for us to shake hands and for things to happen. Like I'm excited to see, what Coreum Punks is going to be doing, and everyone's going to be doing after this event. Like after all the relationships are deeper. I'm just talking, but I'm just hyped as hell, guys.
Yeah, and that's really it. I mean, 2023 is over. Now we're going to 2024. All that talk about Superledger smart tokens, we're really going to see that in play in action. So I'm really excited for just to see what's next. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like we're gonna be like, it's one thing to hear about it, and then in 2024 we're gonna actually see the expansion and the actual like real utility get implemented and the use case. It's gonna be honestly amazing to see. So we got the Sarah airdrop coming, Whelp airdrop coming, and I'm sure there'll be more coming too. But yeah.
That's great, and I appreciate you putting that event on. It's gonna, like you
Are you
said,
coming?
gather. Yeah, I'm going to do my best to get there. It should be a little easier than Cornova, being that I'm allowed to cross the border this time. But yeah, definitely going to try and make it for sure. Looking forward to it.
Where are you located?
I'm in British Columbia, just straight north.
Nice. Nice. That's cool, man. The Coreum community is truly international, truly a diverse community right now. It's really cool to see how everybody I talk to is like from different parts of the world. Like it's really, when you think about it, we're really decentralized, and there's so many different viewpoints, so many different perspectives that are governing this chain. And that's it's truly a community project when you start talking to people. It's not like you just get the USA perspective. You get the Canadian perspective. There's Camel. You get the UAE perspective. Like it's truly like been scattered across the world. It's awesome.
Yeah, it was just last week somebody threw out a comment on X there about it being centralized there, and it was quickly quickly debunked on based where all these validators are located across the world. Is great to see such a quick response on how truly decentralized the network is, and it's still growing too. That's the nice thing. It's still early.
Yeah, I see Clyde down there. I met Clyde at Cornova. He's from Amsterdam. So you got people really from all over the place. And yeah, it's awesome.
What do you see coming from maybe the Cosmos ecosystem as a big connection in 2024, Zen?
What do you mean Cosmos connection? Like, you see,
Well, just with like Lunar Space, they put out a post there talking about bringing DAO tooling or secret network or cache, or is there any projects that you see possibly integrating some tools with Coreum in 2024?
yeah, well, you guys know a lot about this too, but Cosmos is just a really exciting place to be right now. And the past few months since September, when they started to issue native USDC in Cosmos, it's really helped and made Cosmos boom. There was some, struggles, but the struggles were only in the token prices. The technology is still, the best technology in a long time for its use case. But then the native USDC came in September, and it's been basically running extremely hot ever since. But the unique thing about Coreum is they're one of the only projects that are focused on a few things. One is bringing the ISO 2022 to Coreum, to Cosmos. So, like any financial institution that wants to use the Cosmos technology, they're going to want to get the smart tokens because that has the ISO 20022 compatibility. So that is a really, really big point for Coreum there. But there is what else do I have to say? There's a lot more benefits that Coreum has as well. But the main one would be the ISO 20022, and then the next one would be the fact that the RWAs, we know it's going to be a huge. I finally remembered. So the RWAs, it's going to be a huge thing, and some people might be getting frustrated because we see these other meme tokens, or we see these other blockchains that are mooning before something like Coreum. But RWAs is more of it's very regulated, and there's a lot more moving tape that we have to move around to accomplish the goals of tokenizing real world assets on chain. And there's only one other project that I've seen in the Mappa zones. So Mappa zones is all the Cosmos chains. There's like 100 of them. The only other one I see is Comdex, and Comdex really they've been there for a long time. They never really deliver. No one really trusts Comdex. So the number one project positioned in Cosmos ecosystem to do the RWAs is Coreum. So when you put the two and two together, that not only are they the only project that are really serious about dominating real world asset tokenization, they have the Ripple connection too, but they also have the ISO 20022 compatibility. And then it's decentralized and backed by a community. So that way it's it's not centralized by VCs. It's not centralized by like I'm sure you guys research like Ethereum Gate or like a shady ICO. It's all pretty transparent and distributed fairly. So I think it's uniquely positioned, and the fact that a lot of Cosmos influencers are talking about it subtly tells me a lot of them still haven't packed their bags yet and are trying to hit that 10K. And then like you're already seeing more and more people talking about it, and it's going to become more and more talked about within Cosmos communities, as everything keeps going. But that's my two biggest points with Cosmos is the RWAs and the ISO 20022 is going to be the unique thing that makes Coreum special in Cosmos. And there's so much more. We could talk for hours and hours, But the leadership, the leadership team, a lot of Cosmos teams, because I've been in Cosmos for a long time, like they have no business background. Like they might have went to like Stanford, and they might be very good at coding and doing like computer stuff, but they never had real world business experience. Whereas, Bob has already done global importing of manufacturing auto parts and has ran basically a regulated centralized exchange out of Canada, where you're from. So then you also like beyond like all of the, and then, the backing of like Ripple, which is kind of only the true researchers could find the connections of how they kind of connect together. But, we could go on and on, like the team, the leadership, the devs behind the scenes. They don't really see too much on the Twitter spaces. If you look at their GitHubs, they're like incredible developers behind Coreum. Like the list just goes on and on. It's fully distributed. There's only like 20 million left to distribute to solo holders. After that, like the rest are just going to be through inflation. So it has like one of the best tokenomics also in Cosmos. So I don't know. What do you think? What is your favorite? Are you like, what's your favorite thing about it?
Well, I guess to speak to what you're saying there, one thing it really excites me because I'm well behind where you are as far as knowledge on the Cosmos ecosystem, trying my hardest to catch up. But the thing that excites me is the more projects that I speak to and interact with over there, when they learn about Coreum, it's a very quick process because they just understand the cosmos and IBC part of it, so there's just no discussion needed on that. So when they you don't have to spend any time on that, so then they just look at Coreum itself and what it's building. They quickly become very excited and interested, and generally the next question is, where do I get it? Are you seeing the same kind of excitement and interest in response to Coreum from the Cosmos ecosystem?
Lately, ever since it got on Osmosis, yeah, you see a bunch of new Cosmos accounts talking about it. CryptoCito talks about it more. So the biggest thing is making it accessible, right? So then you get it on Osmosis, and then a bunch of people also are aping in when the APR was high. And now we give incentivization to Cosmos community with giving them an opportunity to earn an airdrop. So one of the things that we did with our distribution was we focused on XRP community with Coreum. So we're like, okay, we want to give to our roots the solo XRP community. But one of the things about Cosmos is they really like to support the projects that have airdropped them. So like Atom Stakers, they receive Juno, Osmosis, all those projects as airdrops. So of course they're kind of tribalistic to those coins that they've been airdropped. So my experience has been, it's been pretty hard to convince them. It's like, okay, well, if this is, community project, why didn't they airdrop the Cosmos community? And they kind of felt left out. But now that there's all these new airdrop plans, it's kind of like giving them a second chance to take a second look, where it's like, hey, well, I might have missed the first airdrop, but here's a chance for me to get Sarah tokens and be a part of building this new DEX that's for the people, by the people, and this seems like something pretty exciting. So it's like giving them a chance to take a second look at Coreum, and from what I've seen is people appreciated that, and there's been, so many new people basically getting involved. Also, people that have had their Coreum sitting on the XRP ledger, my phone has been ringing nonstop. People ask me for help. Like, how do I get my XRP Coreum over to Coreum so I can start staking? I need to get the airdrop. So, like, there's like a frenzy in the air right now. Like, from the XRP community, people don't want to miss out. From the Cosmos community, people don't want to miss out. And I think people in Cosmos are also seeing that Coreum has a lot of resources behind them. Like, not many Cosmos projects who just go and take over the European Blockchain Convention and have like the coolest branding and marketing out of all the other projects, right? Like, not that many people have that type of backing. And I think a lot of Cosmos people are like, shit, I don't want to miss out on this. And the Sarah airdrop is a huge reason why there's been like a bunch of people feeling like there's a second chance to really get involved. So what do you probably have the same thing, huh?
Yeah, it's amazing what an airdrop or two will do for generating exciting. I was saying earlier, my own brother, he knows I've had a validator on the network for how long, and it's just today that he's bridging over his Coreum in a panic before the show here to try and get that delegated in time for the snapshot. So it shows how I rank in
Brother?
with that. He's the younger brother, yeah. So yeah, and then same thing. I've been in some XRP spaces, and it's obviously airdrops started to catch a lot of people's attention, and so it's good. I mean, whatever it takes to get people over here, I think once they're here and see what's going on, it speaks for itself, and they're usually pretty easy to get comfortable and stay around. But it's going to be an influx coming for sure.
Think about this though. So I'm pretty involved with the XRP community. All of us have been really excited about the possibilities of AMMs, automated market makers, right? All of us want XLS30 for XRP Ledger. What if, because XRP has been so reluctant to studying, even after they've been giving a gift of Coreum, I'm working on my computer right now, so if I sound weird, let me know. So what if the timeline works out this way, where it's like AMMs keep getting delayed on XRP Ledger, but then Pulsera launches on schedule, less than a month from today. And you have Pulsera goes live, and then people could bridge their XRP and use XRP as DeFi. And before AMMs are ever launched on XRP Ledger, that is a strong possibility. And people have been holding XRP for so long, they want to do something with it. And this could be the greatest way to onboard, the next couple thousand wallets of eager XRP investors that are excited to try, IBC XRP in that Cosmos ecosystem. And that is going to be absolutely huge. I think that's a strong possibility of what could happen.
I think I just seen that 5 million XRP holders out there. And yeah, I agree 100% that they just don't see what's coming. And when they do realize what's happening over here, that's a lot of trapped liquidity that's just sitting there doing nothing. And like you said, just eager for a place to deploy it. So yeah, that's, again, important for us to help, because it is complicated. It's not, there's a lot of these processes that's still tricky for people, especially from the XRP community, because you're used to just having that one XRP address, and you can send whatever XRP token to it, and you're good. And Cosmos wallets operates a little differently. So even though they've been around blockchain for several years, many, some people I've talked to with even 5-6 years, but just stayed within that one ecosystem, are still having a lot of challenges, just working with Cosmos based wallets and stuff. So it's going to take an effort by all of us to help guide that, because it's going to be if you think even 10% of those 5 million people come, that's 500,000 people, and we're sitting at 5,000 delegated right now. So this puts it in perspective.
And if I may, I think that was a point Reza had spoken to on the podcast a few weeks ago, where that seems like it may be a very strong possibility. He was mentioning the fact that whether or not AMM XLS30 is voted on or gets passed, the DeFi solution, the two-way bridge, will be out by late January, early February, and the Pulsera will be live. So people will definitely get a chance to bring over their assets native to Sologenic and XRP Ledger, which is on XRP Ledger, to the Cosmos ecosystem to the Coreum ecosystem back and forth. And I think with what we're seeing with the inscriptions and the stuff happening with the XRP ledger, and there's a lot of things happening that makes it look like that vote or the AMM is going to be more delayed than not. So, we have timelines and dates with regards to Coreum and the solution they're building, and Pulsera going live on the 26th of January. And, there's going to be, I think that's going to be a wake up moment, especially for the XRP community, where they wake up one morning and they're realizing that, hey, I was waiting for the AMM here, but there's AMM and DeFi here. And I kind of missed it. And if you're not in on that first snapshot, you're going to miss all four. So it's definitely something that I think that people are still sleeping on, just like how they slept on the airdrop with getting Coreum, and some of them dumped it, some of them are still holding it and stuff. But I think that the educational piece, where being patient and being a hodler for all these years, I think some of them have turned off their ears and their receptors to new information, and I think that's going to be the key thing that holds a lot of them back from getting on board with what's coming, because I think it's going to be fast, because this is before the 1 year anniversary of Korea mainnet. So there's a
There's
lot
actually
that's
an
going to
issue with it, but
come out
I have to mute it.
before they're even
That
1 year
didn't work.
old. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I didn't know
Yeah,
my mic.
and one thing,
Who
one
was
thing
back
that no
here?
one's
Who was in XRP community back in 2020? Like, who was back here during the Flare hype when everyone was hyping up Flare?
Oh yeah, I've been here since 18. So yeah, I've been through it all. And that's what I've been trying to get, answer. I've been going to XRP spaces and just trying to say, like, you guys, this is what's happening over here. This is the timeline roughly. What's the timeline over here with the AMM? I can see that. I monitor that myself, and just for that vote passing, I think we're easily months away. But this, there's the EVM chains that are being built, and I honestly don't know much about them. But like you said, you got Evernote, 40,000 wallets just like that, and Zaho, 10,000 wallets, and so there is people that are willing to look outside, but it just seems that it's still caught up within that same silo of people from the XRP ledger. So it's bizarre to me. Like, I just don't understand with that many people over there that that they're not looking this way with what's coming just around the corner. And yeah.
So back in 2020, everybody was so excited about the idea of F assets. Remember that? Everyone's like, oh my gosh, XRP is going to be on steroids, supercharged. Even Dogecoin is going to be supercharged on steroids on F assets. But a lot of people don't know. So 2020, they're trying to create interoperability, and they still are. And I'm not here to talk bad about Flare. Like, I don't even care. I don't even keep up to date with it. It could be doing very well. But I just want to kind of compare it and show you guys kind of an example. But everybody was so pumped up. Everyone was so excited. But in the year 2021 was the year when IBC went live. And IBC has been dominating basically that kind of exact use case, but using newer technology, not using EVM. It's using the IBC as a bridge. IBC has done billions in cross-chain transfers with zero exploits, zero hacks. So obviously IBC is the solution that the institutions, the banks are already adopting it. Banks in Japan, like Bank of Mitsubishi, is adopting IBC. Everyone's adopting IBC right now, but it all started in 2021. So we were sold this idea of F assets before IBC was ever even existent. The next year, IBC comes out, and people are doing billions. Most hacks in crypto are due to cross-chain exploits. That hasn't happened yet. Let's knock on wood real quick. But that hasn't happened with IBC. And Coreum basically is solving that same problem that F assets was going to solve
but just using this newer third generation tech, not 2014 tech. We're talking, WASM, we're talking IBC, where you're basically able to juice up XRP, Sologenic tokenized assets with IBC interoperability between 100 different blockchains. And then you also get the smart contracts and stuff. So it's like, why are so many people so hyped about F assets, or we're so hyped about F assets, that nobody even brings up what smart tokens can do? And I don't think anyone's ever going to really bring it up until they see it live in action. And by the time you see it live in action, it's going to be too late. So that's just something I want to share, that these IBC tokens are going to be way bigger a deal than people aren't hyping it up enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, we've been trying. I've been following your messages about it right from day one, and so hey, you and I and many of the people in this room can certainly say we've been trying, no doubt about it. And Chris, it's great that you have your hand up, because when Zen was talking there about IBC security, you just posted a great IBC explainer video in the Discord there. That if you have it handy and want to share it up top there, that is great for anybody to see that video. It explains it quite well. But come on up.
And when we think about IBC, sorry, Chris, I'm gonna finish this one last thing. When we think about IBC, it's only 2 years old. Like, we're still we are the original adopters of IBC. Like, it's not one of those situations where oh, I'm late. No, we're freaking early as heck. 2 years for new technology. We're right in the sweet spot. But go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And yeah, if anyone wants to see that video, it's in the Coreum community DAO. I'll post a link to the YouTube up here in the nest as soon as I finish talking. But for those that are curious about that kind of stuff and you want to keep learning, utilize that Coreum community DAO Discord channel, because we're going to keep posting things, especially if you come from the XRP world and you weren't necessarily in Cosmos or any IBC chains in the last few years. There's a lot of things that you probably want to catch up on, because if you're going to use the technology, you want to understand how it works, at least in a general sense, right? You don't have to understand it on a dev level, because when you're making these decisions, bridges, Zen is right. Bridges are some of the biggest, most expensive hacks in the history of crypto. And the reason why is how the bridge is built and who custodies the assets as they're moving from one blockchain to the other. So if you want to understand why it's not happening in Cosmos, go watch this video, because he does a pretty good job of explaining why you see that on bridges like Wormhole and some of these other EVM and Solana-based bridges, but you haven't yet seen it over in Cosmos. It's the way that they actually do it. So I'll share that up top, and thanks for letting me speak.
And you, Chris, you also asked me what else do I see happening with Coreum and Cosmos. So I gave kind of two of the biggest points. But if you go to Map of Zones, every new Cosmos investor should have that site bookmarked. Because if you click on Coreum on the Map of Zones, you're gonna get a picture painted for you of what the new internet looks like. Like, when they say the internet of blockchains, they mean it. And you could click on all the different Cosmos chains and see what their IBC connections are. And it kind of gives you a glimpse into the future of who Coreum is compatible with right now. And one of the chains is Kujera. And I'm not endorsing buying Kujera or the Kuji token, whatever. But when you are in Cosmos ecosystem, you're able to be compatible with all these other app chains. So these other devs build all these cool tools. And the Coreum token could basically be integrated within another ecosystem in Cosmos like Kujera, where you could do lending and borrowing with the token and all types of other cool things that many people don't even know is possible yet. So there's going to be so many crazy new ways that they're going to be able to use their Coreum token. It's going to be mind-blowing. So I do see lending and borrowing coming to Coreum for us. So imagine being able to, create use your Coreum tokens and create basically debt like a banker would be able to. So that's something else that I see coming in the soon short term too. Maybe Whelp team will bring that natively to Coreum, but all the other projects can integrate Coreum token into their chains, and we're going to see all this is on map of zones. So interesting, you see Kujira already connected to Coreum, and Kujira's whole entire platform is all about being a DeFi hub, like being able to use Coreum or different Cosmos tokens for all the cool degen DeFi stuff. So it's going to get pretty mind-blowing. I think they also are connected to Noble, so you're going to have like native USDC right on Coreum, and that should also mean that someone could build a debit card for Coreum, and like imagine you're staking rewards from Coreum, you're staking earning 26% APR, staking to Coreum DAO Validator or Zen Lounge or whatever validator you're with. You're staking, you're earning rewards, and then it goes right into a MasterCard that could be spent anywhere around. Maybe you use your MasterCard to buy the plane ticket to fly to the next meetup event. Like that's all the stuff that's coming. So like when Bob and Reza made the post saying when they developed Coreum, it was for this purpose, for having the top-notch, most amazing DeFi capabilities, the third generation DeFi capabilities. And they didn't want Solo to fall behind the tech because on XRPL, you can only do so much. Like the security is great, but they want all this cool DeFi stuff that's happening in Cosmos to be compatible with, XRP and Solo so they could stay relevant. And that's kind of like what Coreum's job is, to help us have the sickest DeFi in the world. And we're recruiting tons and tons of developers to do this, to achieve this. So it's going to be honestly incredible, guys. And we haven't even begun the basically, I'm sure you guys bring this up all the time. So Coreum has WASM technology, which means it's already ready for all the big corporations and developers. Most developers in the world are already trained in WASM. So they could easily come over to us and build all these DeFi apps like I'm telling you about, all this crazy shit, social media, Uber, anything you can imagine could be built on this technology. That's literally what Cosm WASM means, like build anything you want, multi-chain, imaginable. It's all going to be able to be built here. It's just we are so ahead of the future. Like a lot of these mainstream developers don't even know they want to build on something like this yet, but they will. So like we're so early. That's why I'm so excited to be talking about this on a daily basis. But yeah.
Well, you asked me, in response to that, what I'm excited about in 2024, and it's, based on a lot of that. Like, my brain goes to, we currently have 50% of the tokens delegated, staked on the network.
That's huge.
That it is, but it's still definitely in growth based on the inflation, right? It's still intended to be at a higher level. And then we're going to have all these use cases coming out here in the next month or two to create more demand. And we can already see without any of these use cases available, just how quick the movement of price can be with the current tokenomics. So when you start opening it up to IBC right away, a two-way bridge to the XRP ledger, that's what I'm excited about, because to me the amount of people out there willing to sell their Coreum right now is way above 50%, clearly. So that leaves very little out there once you take, what the foundation and team and all that has. There's very little out there to go around to embrace these new technologies and tools that are going to be available in just a very short period of time. So that's the most obvious thing that I'm excited about. And then the other is what you were pointing to earlier, is the real world assets. And the thing that I think we're going to learn about soon is the custody part of that, what that custody solution looks like for them. So
They said they're going to release a new custody partner, so that'll be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think once we hear that, we'll know a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot to come,
and it seems like they. Who in here thinks we're still going to get an exchange listing today? Are we going to get an exchange listing, you guys think?
Hoping.
Who was your guys' guess for the B exchange?
Mine was BitHump because I saw them list as Moses, right?
That's a good one. People sleep on that one. That one will be really good because it's a lot of Korean money, and Koreans love this type of stuff. Yeah, BitThumb will be good. I saw BitGet, which wouldn't be too exciting, but they had reports on Superledger and Coreum. They wrote about them before, so.
Yeah, I think everybody's looking for
Imagine
those.
if we get Binance though. Like, what would that do to the price? You think if we got Binance?
It's going to come someday. There's no doubt about it. I just don't see how it doesn't based on the connections with that. But yeah, again, the same thing. Like the demand on the tokenomics that I see coming in the next year is mind boggling because anything I have staked, I don't plan on staking it. So people that are coming in even to get ready for these snapshots that are coming up. There's a lot of people that are going to be buying some Coreum at the current price levels or possibly higher, just to try and get to that 10,000 threshold that haven't done it yet.
There's a lot of people at 10,000 Coreum that now don't ever want to sell for a whole year at least to get these airdrops. So there's also a lot of selling pressure that just vanished with one announcement.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other thing that excites me is, with these new projects, much like we've been hearing about recently with the inscriptions and transaction per second load on the XRPL, is to see some actual load on Coreum network. There's been very little at this point. We're going to see some surges here, as these projects come on, no doubt. So it's going to be nice to see how the network handles it and be able to start comparing what can be done, over here and how it can help with that two-way bridge in place, how it can all work together.
Yeah, and speaking to what Zen was talking to earlier with Map of Zones, I had read the full list of the current peers that Coreum has right now, integration wise. And one of them that stood out to me, I did a thread about it, is the band protocol, which is the Oracle layer of Coreum and the XRP ledger. And I think that's worth looking into and mentioning, because that's a very key part of the whole sustaining the DeFi solution that Coreum is bringing to just the space in general, and also the XRP ledger. So I
So
think
band protocol is in Map of Zones.
yeah. So okay, if you look at the list that Coreum has as peers, it is one of the peers on Coreum as well. So and if you
So
look at
that's the Oracle then.
yeah, that's the Oracle layer. So if you look at I don't know if you saw the graphic that was in the video that Corium posted, that has the ecosystem layout. The band protocol is the Oracle layer, and it's like one of the big pillars. It was trade header and band protocol that were the two biggest pillars in the ecosystem. So with trade header, that's the ISO 222 solution, and band is the Oracle. So the Oracle solution that Bind brings, it's the first Oracle solution for the XRP ledger as well. So they announced this early December, where they were talking about their partnership with the XRP ledger and the integration. So I think that's something huge.
Dude, this is a huge find right here. So correct me if I'm wrong, but the Oracle is what we need to get real world assets, price feeds, like the data from the real world onto the blockchain, correct?
Yes, yes, yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. So I have a thread about it. I posted it in the top. So I broke down what the integration does for XRP Ledger and Coreum. So you guys could check it out.
And
Well,
the other one on there that's of interest too, and that's why I've been trying to talk to the XRPL community about the Ethereum virtual machine connections, is Evmos's on the one of the peers also. So that gives us our interoperability with the Ethereum virtual machine connection there also.
You're right, and also Gravity Bridge too helps with that. So there's like a lot of talk when I first got into crypto. When you hear like, okay, 99% of crypto is going to die and basically go to zero, and then when you learn about this Cosmos technology, you kind of realize that they've already helped build a solution basically to help bridge those, because so many people love a lot of stuff on EVM. So it's not really fair that they all get rugged, right? Like, what if we could bridge the EVM stuff like Evmos to Cosmos and we had a solution? And so a lot of those Ethereum projects also, there's actually a test net right now, a project called, a team called Composable Finance is building multiple IBC bridges between Ethereum, Solana. The Polkadot Kusama bridge is already done. So they're basically taking IBC to chains outside of Cosmos ecosystem so that they could all basically have the interoperability. So every single chain is going to be able to interact with Coreum exactly kind of like what Reza and Bob said, and they wrote this in a white paper back before any of this existed in 2021, I believe. And like now in 2023, we're seeing what they wrote about in 2021 actually happening in real time. Like back then, there was no Ethereum IBC bridge. So they were able to foresee a lot of what has been happening. So that is also really comforting to know that our founder is kind of like saw the direction, was able to come up with this Coreum solution. So that way we're in line with, because it would really suck if XRPL and Sologenic wasn't part of this new economy. Like you're telling every single major blockchain is adopting IBC, and then XRPL doesn't adopt it. That means we fall behind. So once people see the picture that everyone is joining this internet of blockchain, people will start to see it at being a disadvantage not being part of the new internet of blockchains. So you guys, if you haven't looked up Composable Finance, they have the testnet for Ethereum, for IBC. So it's honestly insane. Like you're talking about Evmos and Ethereum IBC, and it's so crazy that we're watching this all happen in real time.
And I think Coreum is going to be a big part of the compliance part of it. Like that's the great thing about Coreum is this balance between compliance and decentralization. And I think that's really what it's going to stand out towards that enterprise adoption, in my opinion, as far as the Cosmos ecosystem.
You're 100% right. And this Oracle that you guys found, is something special because it's connected to the XRPL, EVM, and it's connected to IBC. Yeah, it's connected to the IBC.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
So this is like This is like our chain link.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the great thing about what this is, it's that, and I think a lot of people sleep on that Superledger terminology, but Coreum is the Superledger, and it's proving that day by day, minute by minute. And when I saw the graphic they put out in the video with Band being the Oracle layer, I started digging and I found all this information, including the fact that Band the protocol had put out a blog about their integration into the XRP ledger in early December this year. So this is fresh, this is brand new, still it just came off the stove type of information. So I think that as the integrations and the solutions keep intertwining and interoperating, I think that these are some of the key pillars and key players and protocols, as Zen was saying, with the Internet of Value, the Internet of blockchains. We're watching this in real time, stitched together. So we're in a great place right now.
And how do I pronounce your name, dude?
So it's Articulate.
Articulate. Dope. Nice to meet you, man. That's an incredible find. So because of people like you, the whole Coreum community, there wasn't that much information out, and we're kind of all been putting the puzzle pieces together, like nodes. and everyone part of this community helping find these little things, gives everybody the confidence and courage to keep holding, and to believe that something big is going to come from this, So, shout out to all the I think we have some of the best researchers in the game, part of Coreum. So, and also we have some of the best diamond hands in the game. So, yeah. I
We
just
learned
put the
the hard way.
RSVP link in the. Someone just put the RSVP link for me. I want to give another shout out to Coreum Punks one more time because they're one of the original NFT projects. And I actually got one of the Coreum Punks NFTs, and they're basically the first people to create a collection inspired by Coreum. And, they are a big part of this community right here, right? I always see Coreum Punk NFT profile pictures in the spaces. And they also took things to another level where they have utility where they're able to use validators to give the holders of the NFTs passive income. So I think the project is really cool and it's sustainable. They've been around, and it seems like they have some exciting plans for the future. So, shout out to all the Coreum Punks. They're going to be at the event. So if you have a Coreum Punk NFT, spread the word amongst your community. It's like, hey, let's all meet up at the LA event. And there's going to be some giveaways for you guys, and it's definitely going to be worth all you guys' while. So I just wanted to shout them out one more time real quick. And I'm going to be doing a whole YouTube video, so you guys are kind of getting this info and the RSVP link before anyone else. But I definitely want to, let people know about that project who haven't heard about it yet. I think you've done YouTube videos about it. But Kings is a really good guy. Levi, he's from Hawaii. He's part of it too. I see his profile pic. So yeah, check out the link. Even if you don't plan to go, so let's say you can't make it to this event in February, at least check out the link, because we plan on doing this a lot more, especially if the market gets better. We might do another one in Las Vegas in the summer. So maybe you can't make this one, but there's going to be other ones in the future. So we want to basically take this online, because there's all these great relationships that are made also in these Discord rooms or on these Twitter spaces. But we want to take Web3 and make it into real life and have real life meetups. And I think that will make our community, Coreum community, we already have one of the best communities in the game. But then you take that amazing internet community presence and combine that with, the real world presence. And I believe that's part of the reason why we are this strong, because I met Mackenzie in Vegas and in LA, and I met a lot of these guys at the Solo Nation events. But now we have this Coreum community, so we also have to do Coreum events. And, so many amazing friendships have been created at these events. And I think that's why Coreum is such a strong community, because these aren't just these aren't just pictures behind Twitter space to a lot of us. I actually have shaken Mackenzie's hand down there, so he's beyond just some internet persona to me. So we're gonna be doing this a lot more, and my dream would be to do something like a giant music festival. Articulate, you do music, right?
Yes, I do reggae music.
Dude, I love reggae music, man.
Yeah.
You
So
could be a performer at one of the events.
I should be a performer at one of the events. Let's talk about it.
That's what I'm saying. You see, there's so many talented people in here. We could have a big 420 smoke out event.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Nice. So that's awesome, Zen, that you're putting that on and inspiring the community. Don't be shy. Feel free to use your time here. Also, you got a lot going on. We mentioned number one validator on Coreum Network, but you've also branched out. If I understand right, you're running a validator on Juno now also. Yeah. So again, feel free to speak to any of that. You're more than welcome.
No, I'm just enjoying hanging out and getting to know you guys and chilling. So I mean, I don't really have anything to talk about other than just if you guys have any questions or want to know my perspective on anything, I could give you that. But other than that, I'm just happy to be here. It's New Year's Eve, so I'm putting out a video right now. What we could talk about actually is something not even about crypto. It's like it is about to be a new year, so it's like we could talk about Coreum real quick. How many people have a New Year's goal to accumulate a certain bag of Coreum? Set a New Year's resolution to get into the 10K. I call it the 10K club now. So like, how many people need to set up a New Year's goal to get into the 10K club to qualify for Sarah? So like, this is a great time to think about our goals. And one of my goals last year, it's funny because looking back this time last year was to create a validator, and I was just begging, hoping for a chance to make it into the top 32, because back then you had to be the top 32 validators in order to get into the active set. And I didn't even know if it would be possible. I thought there was going to be like banks and all these big players coming, and I would get pushed out. And I just persevered anyways, even though I thought it would be impossible to start a validator. I set the goal, and now we're here. You just mentioned it, number one validator. Like I was just hoping to get a spot, man. And now seeing it at number one really has given me so much confidence to write bigger goals for myself in 2024. It's the year of the dragon. It's also an 8-year. So if you study numerology, 2024, 2 plus 2 equals 4 plus 4 equals 8. So we have two, and you could think this is crazy, whatever, but we have two symbolic figures that stand for financial abundance, prosperity, financial growth, expansion, success. The dragon represents prosperity, growth, abundance, and it's a wood dragon, which is even more special for abundance. And then you have the letter number 8. 8 number is also really strong vibration for abundance and prosperity. So like, I think personally the only problem people will have in 2024 is limiting their mindset on how big they could set their goals. Like I told you last year, I was just hoping to make it into the top 32. I didn't dream big enough to think I could be number one. So I'm not going to make that mistake again. So, everybody here should really, set some resolutions, set some goals, because if each one of us individually as a community member goes out there and becomes the best we could be as an individual, it's going to make this network look absolutely insane. If Articulate goes out there and becomes the number one reggae artist in the world, it's going to make Coreum look amazing. If Coreum Punks goes out there and becomes the number one NFT project in the world, not on Coreum, we're talking about in the entire world, it's going to make, imagine if Coreum Punks surpasses Bored Ape Yacht Club. It's going to make Coreum look amazing. So like, if everybody goes out there and does the best they can in 2024, it's going to help the whole entire ecosystem. And at the end of the day, guess what it's going to do? Pump our bags to the moon, baby. All of us want to live abundant, or else we wouldn't be in crypto, right? So like, that is like what my YouTube video is about today. Wasn't expecting about talking about this topic with you guys, but I feel comfortable talking about it. And then like, Coreum community, the bigger his YouTube channel gets, the more exposure it gets to Coreum, the more people buying it, the more it's pumping all of our bags. Our staking rewards go up. The value of all the staking rewards at 20 cents versus at $10. Imagine that. Imagine all that staking rewards coming in. Instead of it being worth 20 cents each coin, it's $10 each coin. It's going to be absolutely insane. But a big part of it is having a strong community. And, that's my little rant.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, it's a great and great way to end this year and look into next, is exactly like you said, set those goals. Like I said, I was following your channel when you were setting those goals and announced them on the channel and in Telegram. And about the same time, I was being nudged somewhat by your information you're putting out and some other people in my life that decided to start this channel, and never did I expect it to get to where it is in 1 year. To have met Bob and Reza and the team, in LA, and make the partnerships I have with Articulate and Scott McKenzie, in 1 year, like that was not on my radar when I said, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I just thought, there's a niche. I can provide some content, though rough as it was, just stuck with it. It's a tough battle starting a channel with, trying to get that following. But I was blessed to have a very eager and welcoming community to take me in and help grow. And dream big, guys, because like many things in my life, you just kind of jump in and go. Sometimes out of necessity, but it generally turns out better than you expected. Much like Zen was saying in his case there.
So we have individual goals that we could all work on, and then there's like a community goal. And something I thought about as you were talking is this: like, we don't really have time to all set individual goals as we're on this space together, but we could set one community goal. And I want to put it out there. Let's set a goal that Coreum this time next year has the #1 ratio for stakers. Like, we have the most stakers. Like, we're at 51% right now. Like, what if we were at like 70% staked? Like 70% of the Coreum out there is staked, collecting airdrops to Sarah. I think that's possible. I think we could basically be, with all the news coming, like one of the #1 bonded blockchains with our community. So, I think that's doable. I see that happening in 2024. And yeah, man, similar story as you. When we first start, it's kind of daunting, and we don't actually like we overestimate what we could do in the short term and underestimate what being consistent. Like, wouldn't you say consistency helped you get to where you are, Chris? Because I see you are a very consistent guy.
Yeah, that was, like I said, when I was researching crypto, I was also researching influencers and YouTubers, and to me that was the formula. Just be consistent and do your best. My intentions for this network are obviously good. Just show up and do the best you can, and it'll build it, and they will come. And that's, like
It's
you
not
said,
like it's an
exceeded my
overnight thing
expectations.
it wasn't like an overnight thing that happened for you. It's something that you committed to on a daily basis, every day, step by step, brick by brick. Next thing you know, you got a brick home. So, like, that's how it is with what we're doing too. It's like so many people will start this journey with us, and then they might not finish the journey with us because they're expecting it to like happen overnight. But a lot of us have been in these spaces for a long time now. We're just laying brick by brick, being consistent, and that's what it takes. So anyways, we could get back to crypto talk now. But I'm hyped. It's a new year. I think this is going to be our biggest year yet, guys. And there's so much to look forward to, so much we don't even know that's coming. And isn't there some big, can you tell me more in detail about the whole, like, they're doing some pilot tests, right, in February?
Well, that's the other thing I found interesting about the Coreum ecosystem graphic they put out. It was, that Oracle with band there, but just prominently displayed beside is that ISO 222 trade header. I've been trying to yell that from the rooftops for a long time since they first mentioned it, because when you look into what trade header is all about, and to hear that Coreum's working with them, one of the few projects, as far as I can see, that's even working with them. It's massive. It's absolutely massive. It's beyond, just being ISO 222 compatible. Like, they're building actual ISO, like Swift infrastructure. So,
Are they
a
really?
lot of people are, like, this is bigger than just being compatible for sure. So they got this prototype that they're about to test with 2 financial institutions coming up, And I think it's going to be absolutely massive if that takes off, because I don't think anybody else is doing it. I think Coreum has this exclusively to in their production. So
Have you ever heard of Gary, the numbers guy?
yes, rings a bell. I just can't bring it up right now.
Yeah.
He's like the top OG for numerology. He's like famous all over TikTok, and he makes all these like numerology calls and stuff. But anyways, he, without doing any research, my friend told him about Coreum, and he like looked at it for like 30 seconds, and he goes, "How do I buy?" And he like bought a shitload. This was like way back in the day, without even, just based on like the numerology of Coreum, he knew that it was going to be like this special project. And like so many people had that feeling when they first discovered Coreum, and then you go and also have all these like very smart tech people, business savvy people that also resonate with Coreum. Then it's like, how did all these people have such a strong feeling about this back when we didn't have any of this information? And then you go over here and tell me on this space that like Coreum is going to be like just as significant as Swift, and it's like this Superledger. Like, how did so many people have this I don't know how to describe it. They had this like precognition that Coreum would be special without like any information really about it. Like just like a simple. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Oh.
What was your guys' experience when you first came across? Because you guys are OGs here, so like, what was your experience when you first came across Coreum? Like,
Uh, go ahead, articulate. I was waiting for you.
Oh yeah, well, for me, and just to highlight, just a few things that you said, Zen. So yeah, the Year of the Dragon, and also, well, the logo is a dragon, and for me, I was looking at being an XRP holder. The airdrop came, and it was just looking at my wallet, and it was during, I think, the time when Coreum was at like in 50-40 cent range, going to 60 cents, 70 cents, and I was like, what is this project doing 10-15% every day? I wake up, it's a new 20%. I'm like, wait, the price movement is really volatile, but it got me thinking of like, okay, let me look deeper into what Corium could possibly be. I didn't immediately jump into like buying more Corium, but when I saw that Corium is going to be that link that links pretty much XRP Ledger and gives it new capabilities and stuff, I definitely, went not all in, but I took a deep dive because I understood that whatever XRP is and it's cut out to be, Corium is taking it to the next level and enabling it to be that. So, understanding from that point of view that it was something very, very special, and that I needed to hold. But mentioning about trade header and Swift, um, I noticed that Swift is now listed on Corium website under architecture. So if you look at architecture use cases, they have some use cases that I believe are partnerships as well. So you will see Keyrock, you'll see projects like gaming, you have Axie Infinity, you have OpenSea. There's a lot of stuff they're also putting out there now. So
that was
under
actually there since day one. That was there since the beginning. They had Swift there, and everyone's like, "Why do they have Swift right here?"
right. So trade
And now,
headers that link.
a year later, like,
Yes.
you're telling me this stuff. It's like, what? It's all true.
Yeah, so it's coming together, and the more I did, because I do research a lot, I try to learn. I'm a learner, so that's why articulate is, I have that name. I try to feed my brain every day, so digging deep into what this could possibly be, and learning more about it every day, and seeing how it builds the different layers on top of each other, I find out even on this call how more special Corium is and what it's going to do. But through the XRP ledger, through the airdrop, and being a little bit more curious, I think that what's holding back the majority of the XRP community is that hope a lot of the some maybe misunderstood riddles, and some things that keep them into like a stage of not wanting to take on new information. But taking on new information is not unhealthy, guys. It's something that expands you as a person, and could also show you some things that you are not presently seeing in your reality, and could make it your reality as well. So yeah, that was kind of my brief introduction into what Coreum is.
Yeah, for me, it was sologenic being ignored by the XRP community that kind of had me digging around. It just, once I found what they were doing, and none of the big influencers were talking about it, it kind of got my attention. So then when they started announcing it, I was quite surprised at the backlash when they announced the project. And I always go back to the interview that Bob did with Bearable Bull, and you can just see how genuinely upset, frustrated Bob was on the response, and just trying to bring some clarity to the issue. And I could just see that he was genuine, and that goes a long ways with me. So I, stuck around and kept listening and seeing what they were doing. And as you well know, there's very little information available at that time. You were likely privy to a heck of a lot more than me, just being closer to the sologenic part of it than I was. But so I obviously started watching content you were putting out there and trying to learn as much as I can. And it wasn't until really December, a year ago, December, when Reza jumped in that space and kind of started talking about what this project was going to be capable of. Then I realized, like, wow, the numerology connections were there, the synchronicities were there for me too. Like when they announced it, and when they announced the snapshot date, and the actual distribution date fell on, my daughter's birthday, and so there's a lot of synchronicities there. Just like you said, just kind of drew me to the project. But the big thing was, it was just how scorned the XRP community was with the project itself. That kind of a contrarian by nature just kind of kept me digging deeper on it, and I'm sure glad I did.
Well, yeah, Warren Buffett will say the number one strategy to succeed in investing is basically not listening to other people, and trusting your own gut, what's good for you. One of the interesting things, I'm going to go back to it, because remember I told you how everybody was so hyped for the idea of F assets, having more capabilities with their XRP and with their XLM, etc. And then nobody seems to be excited for the exact same thing with the smart tokens, but with the IBC. And when you go back to that announcement, you talked about a lot of good points right now about the amount of hate that Bob received for announcing Coreum. Well, a lot of that actually stemmed back from those Flare influencers. And that is kind of one of the reasons I believe it was super huge too, because the Flare people were some of the people spearheading a lot of the narratives that Coreum would be useless. And I actually found those same people that were flooding the account, doing some heavy research before they became Flare influencers, talking about Interledger protocol and IBC basically being the what is it? The basically holy grail of interoperability, combining those two ecosystems together. And he was talking about this, way back. And then even David Schwartz was talking about a project called Kava that was using, all the same technology that Ripple invested in to basically Tendermint, ILP, a lot of XRP, L2 Cosmos. And he was talking about all that too. So then I was like, okay, well, like seems to be an agenda or competition of two competing solutions. And, we haven't, I don't know how Flare is talked about in the community, but I just remember that I remember going through that and seeing all the FUD, and a lot of it was generated by basically a competing project. So once you know that, then like a lot starts to make sense, and you're not so worried anymore. Anyways, NTO has had his hand up. I want to let him take over.
Hey guys, early Happy New Year. Zen, nice to have you in Spaces here. Been listening to your content since basically day one. Been a part of this Coreum XRP solo. One of the first things I've invested in was the XRP here. For me, a couple of things here. For me, the Coreum basically was about the only project at the time here where it was actually giving you a passive income for over a year, just by basically having started with XRP here. That's the first thing that drew me to this here, and then of course learning more about it, and the community, the people that I've met in this community, absolutely awesome. Question I had here for some of the new people in the space here is maybe explain to us, somebody in here, the significance of having 75% of a token basically validated to a blockchain. What does this do for the ecosystem? What does this do for the community? Like, how does it strengthen? Strengthen the blockchain?
You talked about the
Go.
New Year's goal that we set about having the total bonded ratio is very, very high.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, so Adam's goal is, I can actually look it up. I believe it's like over 67%. And the more that we have bonded, the less is out there that could basically be used to do like it basically just secures the network. And the more value we have staked, the harder it is for someone to infiltrate the network in various different ways. So if you only have 20% of the total token staked, it's very easy to the network security isn't that great. So the way that a lot of these blockchains work is they have mechanisms in place to create incentives for people to stake and provide security. So for example, when Atom is below that quota, I believe it's like 67%, the rewards are a certain level. And then once the network hits the goal of a certain amount staked, then the inflation actually goes down, and the token becomes more scarce. I think they were talking about doing that with Coreum in the original days, where like after there's a certain amount staked, they could actually turn Coreum and make it deflationary once enough is staked, and they could actually start burning Coreum. But you can't achieve those goals until you have certain levels staked. But maybe someone could articulate this a little bit better than me. Chris has his hand up.
Yeah, just real quick. So he's on the right track, but there is a key detail the way you should view it. When you look at proof of work, the amount of network hashing power is what determines whether you can gain control of 51% of the network power and actually reverse a transaction or control the network, right? So when you look at proof of stake, how does that happen? It's all about the value, which is basically what Zen was just hitting on, but you got to look at it in terms of supply and demand. The more you have staked and locked away, and it takes that 7-day or that 21-day or however long the unbonding period is, the more you have locked away, the less there is liquid available on exchanges to go and purchase. So if a whale or people colluding together wanted to attack the network, they'd have to control 51% of the total supply, right? That way they could reverse a transaction or whatever. So the more that's locked away, the less that's available on open markets, and theoretically with supply and demand, it should be way, way, way more expensive. So if you were to drop to say 20% or 30% staking levels compared to 60 or 70, that means there's more out there in the market. It's usually at a cheaper price, and your blockchain is at a much larger risk of whales or people colluding together to come in and take over and get that 51% control that they need.
Great,
Yeah.
great explanation, guys. Very well worth it. Just something that I'm sure new people into coming into the space here that don't know what staking is here. Just kind of an explanation to how to strengthen the blockchain. And I do get it here as a miner of Bitcoin here. The more miners we have, the more secure the blockchain gets. So this is what the proof of stake does in staking. Excellent. Thank you, guys.
If you think about it, to take over the total amount of hashing power to attack Bitcoin are very, very costly, because you'd have ASIC mining, and you'd also have to have a large amount of electricity. So the difference is rather than having that cost in hardware and hashing power, we have that cost based on the supply and demand of tokens that are locked away, and that kind of, it does effectively the same thing, just in a different medium.
Yeah, I think Coreum tokenomics are very well set up for our benefit moving forward. I think once projects get built and deployed on the network here, and these demands are in place, it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds, in my opinion, because there's not going to be a lot of sellers out there, that's for sure.
So would
Yeah,
that
and
be
one
would
other
would that
point that we could make is, so like what else is really important with making sure we have a really good ecosystem is that the very big, powerful validators on the network that the stakers are staking with are actually participating in the basically consensus of our governance. So, like, I'm allowed to call out one because, number one, like, everyone in Cosmos who's been in it for a long time knows, like, hey, rule of thumb, let's not. We love decentralization. We love DeFi. Let's not support the centralized exchanges. And BitTrue appears to have a really good situation going on with offering 1% commissions, but at the same time, you could get what you pay for, because they have such a large percentage of the voting power. And sometimes, if we need to hit consensus on a governance proposal like upgrading the chain to V4, BitTrue hasn't voted on one governance proposal, and they have such large voting power for what? For no reason. It's like wasted space. And if that becomes too big of a trend, that could also, hurt a proof of stake blockchain. So it's also up to each and every community to, pay attention to those little type of things, because BitTrue really hasn't supported any governance proposal, and I don't believe they ever will. And I think they're ranked like number 2. So it's good that the rest of the validators are very active and proactive, and we've been slamming out the proposals and hitting consensus very, very fast. But other Cosmos chains that go kind of like the community is not as engaged, like, it might be very difficult for them to reach consensus if everyone behaved like a BitTrue. So that's something else we could talk about that I haven't really talked about on a YouTube video. I think it's a good time to talk about, like, on a space like this. But yeah, that's something important to know too.
Yeah, absolutely. Delegating your tokens to a validator, just for the APY, is only part of the equation, and it is important to make sure if you're delegating with BitTrue, use your voice, let them know, like, hey, you gotta vote on these proposals. I'm not going to tell you where to delegate to or whatever, but I think any follower of my channel knows that distributing it amongst several community validators is the way to go. I've done 4 hours of live stream, two different live streams for 4 hours, breaking down every validator for that purpose. There's some validators out there that have 100% fees, so somebody, might be delegating there by error too. So it's important for us to have these platforms to discuss these issues and inform the community of these issues, because a lot of people like the idea of participating in governance but don't pay too much attention to it. So like you said, if we're having governance issues because large validators aren't voting, that's detrimental to everybody's outcomes, whether you're here for as an investment or as a builder. So it's important to keep up to that for sure.
So how do you find the right validator number one here? And just quickly, Chris, if you could explain why some validators are asking for 100% in fees here.
Well, you can set it to whatever you want. Like in our case, we have it set at 3%, and so it's just whatever. That's a set point that each validator can set. So there's some that I assume are here maybe as a grant recipient or something like that, or that they're not really interested in building a community to support their validator. I'm not too sure. I know, if we had 100% fees, I don't think we'd have the 150 some people we have with us, right? So it's a balance for sure.
Can I touch on that real quick, Chris?
What was that? Sorry.
Can I touch on that real quick about the?
Yeah, sure.
Because what we don't want to do is create a toxic culture of Karens, calling out validators without understanding the dynamics that are happening. Because that has happened before, where someone's all like, you're charging 100% commission, or you charge a 20% commission. You're basically trying to suck the chain and be a vampire to the chain and you're not. It looks bad, right? But a lot hasn't been talked about in public, and we don't know what type of deal that they have behind closed doors with the foundation. So a lot of those times, those projects are charging those high APRs. Like you said, they're not really there to build a community. They're probably there on behind the scenes doing some like tech stuff for Coreum, like an agreement to do RPC nodes, or an agreement to do analytics, or build explorers. Like there's some types of, or like I think Dora Hacks has some agreement to use the rewards to fund different fund activations, like we're seeing now, like grants and stuff for the success of funding Coreum projects. So like just because a validator has high fees doesn't mean they're a bad actor. They probably just have some type of closed deal with the foundation, and that's probably like negotiation from Coreum, where like instead of Coreum offering them $10,000, like, here, we'll give you a spot as a validator. You could take 20% off of it. You're going to be earning about this much per month. And can you do this for us in exchange? So like a lot of those have been deals that have been made, and it's not like they're bringing, like, community validators. A lot of us charge lower fees, and we bring our own unique value by bringing attention, education. But these guys also bringing like developer experience, technical experience. There's a lot of stuff that happens, like upgrades happening on testnet, where like those validators are doing a lot on the testnet to basically make sure that the upgrades don't cause the main net to halt. And a lot of the like they do a lot that we don't know about, and a lot of them do deserve to get paid, and we shouldn't like start pointing them out, being like, you don't deserve to get paid. And we don't. Maybe some of them are. Leeches, but we don't have enough information right now to know which one's a leech. Right. For the most part, I think that Coreum has cellos pretty well. And
I can give a good example of that is, and I don't know what their commissions are at the top of my head, so I'm not speaking to this from a high commission sense necessarily, but it's an institutional validator that maybe we'd look over as somebody to delegate with, but their importance on the network is clear. Is Forbol. If you look into the IBC relayers, they're one of them, right? So they're providing like critical infrastructure to our tool and network. So, they definitely have a place here. And like Zen was saying, we might not necessarily understand it for what it is, but just because we don't understand it doesn't mean that they're up to no good or anything like that. Because, quite the opposite in this case. Very, very powerful partner to have. And as far as the technology they're providing, one thing, Zen, I was wondering, because I think there's just lost value in it, and maybe someone from the Cosmos ecosystem too maybe knows this. Like I noticed in the last vote for the upgrade, the Emerge validator voted no, and so that caught my attention. Not that I think that's a problem. It's more just a curiosity. Is like, well, why would they vote no? Because like, without knowing, like to me, it's just lost value. Like I'd rather somebody vote no and understand why they voted no, and at least I can think about that and make my own decision. Like, have you heard anything about that? And then, and second part of that, is there a way to explore those vote results to get that value from why somebody might vote against it?
Yeah, I heard there was a validator that voted no, which makes no sense to me. The way that this whole network works is like we all invested and bought these tokens, right? And obviously, the way the governance works is people that invested money into this aren't going to vote for something that's going to cause their token to lose value. We're all going to vote in favor of stuff that's going to help the network, it's going to help our investment, right? So when you see someone go to vote something like that, then you'd probably ask questions like, okay, were they a grant recipient? Did they actually invest? Do they care? And probably the answer is yes. So they're probably not actually invested like we are. And typically in Cosmos, what you're supposed to do is, go to either the Discord page. And informal systems, they did this when they voted no on increasing the validator set and proposed some ideas for the validators. They gave their whole reasoning, and basically, if we're going to do governance, we can't be monkeys, right? Like when the Greeks were creating democracy and the republic and all that stuff, like they really sat and did things and thought they really organized and did things right. So like the way that governance is supposed to be done is like you're supposed to basically give your reasoning why you basically tell them why you're not going to pursue something. And in Cosmos, there's been, so if you don't know about Cosmos, through governance, there's been some of the biggest civil wars ever. Like the Atom founders all hate each other. Like there's even talking about forking the Cosmos Hub, but there is some wild debates and you're supposed to do it in a way that is like respectable. Like if he's going to vote no, why are you voting no? What are your points? Let us read over the points. He didn't do that. Low effort. If I was sticking to that validator, I'd be able to be like, I'm not aligned with this validator anymore. He's just going to vote no, not give us any clarity, not going to give us any points, nothing to debate about. Okay, like he's not helping the network grow, not helping my investment grow. Peace. So that's really shady, but I'm glad you brought it up because I haven't really even had time to look into it or think about it. But 9 out of 10 times, he probably got all his bags granted by the Coreum Foundation, so he's not really invested in it like we are. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I'm just, trying to play devil's advocate, not knowing, and I appreciate you mentioning informal systems had discussion on theirs. I didn't know that, so I'll look for that moving forward. But
that was way back. They're giving an argument about how increasing the validator set doesn't increase decentralization way back. And they made some good points, but the network still chose and voted to increase the network otherwise. But like he didn't just vote no and didn't give his reason. He gave reasons and a lot of very thoughtful reasons why he could be right. And that's how it's supposed to be done. Like you're supposed to basically go back and forth. You're not supposed to be like kids. You're supposed to really like go back and forth and come up with the best solution. And a lot of times on Twitter accounts, people will post why they voted on certain issues. I haven't done the best job at that. I wish I could do a better job, like updating everything that I vote on. But so far, everything's just been yes, 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 yeah. It's all pretty. It's all been pretty cut and dry. It's all like, why wouldn't we vote for this upgrade? Why wouldn't we increase the validator set? Let more people get involved and give more people a chance. Yes, yes, yes. When we get to more like political, more sensitive stuff, I'll maybe write a whole report. But I remember what I wanted to tell you guys real quick. We were talking about governance and everything. So Sarah token, think about this. You guys are going to be governing this, right? Whelp is going to be similar, where I believe Whelp tokens also have governance. So think about how stupid it would be if we have Sarah, which is all community governed, like 40% of the blockchain is governed by the community. And then Whelp comes out and says, oh, the devs control 100% of the governance. Would the community want to use Whelp? In my opinion, once you get a taste of true freedom and once you get a taste of like having your voice be heard, it's addicting. Like once I joined Cosmos back a couple years ago, and I had the taste of being able to vote and see my voice be heard on chain, I got addicted, and certain things shift where you're like, don't respect systems that don't give you a voice anymore. So I believe this is why Whelp is guaranteed going to give us another airdrop. So let me leave with I got to bounce right now, but I'm going to leave you guys with some really bullish news because people are already going mania for the Sarah tokens, but no one's even bringing up Whelp. How stupid would it be for Whelp to not airdrop the community and centralize the voting amongst their dev team? It's not going to work. It's not going to happen in a million years. For Whelp to work, they need us. So the stakers are just as important as developers in making this network work, because we don't want to use a DEX that is controlled by a greedy dev team. No one will ever use it. So for Whelp to succeed, they are going to do an airdrop. And from what I heard is through the grapevine, through talks, is that so first Sarah is going to be really focused on getting XRPL community, and Whelp is more focused on the Cosmos community. So maybe Whelp, what would be awesome, I would love if Whelp only got airdropped to Coreum holders personally, because all of us are going to be swimming in cash money trees. Like we'll all be getting rich off Sarah. But for the sake of the network, I'm hoping that Whelp offers an airdrop to, let's say, Osmo stakers or Atom stakers for Whelp and Coreum stakers. So then we could attract all those people to get Whelp tokens and come use the DEX on Coreum with their free Whelp. Even if they dump the Whelp, like who cares? Dump it. Just come over here, open up. They have to activate a Coreum wallet to come to our layer 1. So wouldn't that be sick if not only we get another airdrop, which I think is guaranteed for Coreum stakers, but that airdrop was used to sucker in a bunch of Cosmos community? Then we're going to be rocking and rolling, guys. Like when you look at, so you talk about Juno, I have a validator in Juno. There's like 200,000 wallets on Juno because everyone got airdrop Juno. There's a shitload of wallets on Osmosis. You look at Coreum, there's only like 5,000 wallets. There's not even 10,000 wallets yet. Like the opportunity for us to scale is tremendous. And then on top of it, we get all these airdrops. Like, are you kidding me? Like, we are going to be having a really good time. I don't think money, someone talked about the Dragon. Coreum designed their podcast off of Dragon. They know what they're doing. They know about the astrology. XRP came out on a Dragon year. Coreum's helping XRP, the Superledger. Dragon, Coreum's green like a dragon. We're going to get into a place, personally, that money is not going to be a limitation for us, I think, with all these airdrops, with all this staking rewards. So we got Whelp, we got Sarah, we got Lunar Space launching here soon. It's going to be some awesome times in Coreum community. I would love to come back to any of these spaces you guys ever do. Let me know next space you do. Sorry if I talk too much. I get really excited talking about this stuff. But yeah, guys, it was amazing to be here, and I think the best is yet to come for us. And I hope to see you guys in LA, and we're going to have some fun. And Chris, thank you for being a great host and
continue to crush it in 2024, bro. And articulate. We gotta get you on stage, man. I love the reggae.
Let's make it happen.
All right, man. And then Coreum Punks, I'll see you guys. Shout out to Scott. See you guys in a couple months. Peace.
Sounds good, Zen. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Have a good new year with your family. Best of 2024 to you too. Well, there was a whole lot of information in a nutshell again on the Superledger podcast. On a streak here, nothing but powerful podcast here lately. Next week's certainly not going to be any different with Pulsera here, no doubt about it. Anybody wants to come up and join in, you're more than welcome. Sorry if I missed a few requests through that. I've been just kind of enjoying the conversation and multitasking here a little bit. So throw a request up if you wanted. Ralphie, welcome. Glad you could join us again today.
I think it was such a great and profound way to end the year. This podcast today. We spoke about a lot. We had Zen in special guests popped in and brought a lot of value to the conversation as well. And I think it shows, where Coreum and Coreum community is going, that interoperability is not just for the technology, it's for the community as well. And, I appreciate what we have been experiencing over the past couple of weeks, the momentum building going into 2024. And I know it's going to be great. And, for those who are out there in different time zones, again, Happy New Year. And we wait on the East Coast. I'm on the East Coast here, waiting for midnight. But yeah, I think this was just another powerful information, data packed podcast. And, we're still taking requests if you guys want to come up and say something, if you want to say Happy New Year, whatever it is, I think that our community is stronger than ever. And we just continue to build day by day.
Well, Articulate, I'm sure looking forward to 2024 with you. I've been in several spaces where you've made potential collaborations and partnerships that you're going to be working with moving forward. Definitely lots of interest there. So I can also already see with some of them that it's going to be a really exciting year of music coming from Articulate. So we're very blessed to have you in the community and the co-host here. And I'm going to try and get this music part figured out. We got to get this. I need to hire a DJ for the podcast here, so I can get my soundboard problem figured out here.
Yes, sir. I'm excited. I'm not even sure if I'm maybe the first or one of the first reggae artists in the Coreum community, but I'm happy and glad to represent Coreum wherever I go. And when I'm doing new music as well, I'm going to be incorporating Coreum into the lyrics and stuff. Bring it across the borders. Take Coreum to the tropics. Imagine Jamaica blasting some Coreum music. Some reggae vibes. So I definitely see where we're going, and we're as a community, we're laying the foundation week by week, day by day, hour by hour, and I think the foundation is paying attention as well. And I think they're pleased with just how engaged and um, how close to the data we stay, because that's important. It's not that we're out here just doing wishful thinking or saying whatever we want. We're sticking to the facts. We're presenting statistics and data driven, dissemination of information. So I think that says a lot, and it's going to take us to places that we've never dreamed of. And Ralphie, welcome, man. Always good to have you in the building.
What up, Articulate? Well, Articulate, first of all, I'm from the Caribbean. I'm Cuban. My dad lives in the Bahamas currently. Reggae runs deep in all the Caribbean. And I'm also from Miami, so the reggae scene here is huge. Probably one of the biggest in the country, to be honest. So I'm always down with that. But I wanted to touch on something, and I was just listening into the conversation while I'm prepping here for New Year's. But, man, I see a little bit of a shift. I haven't been on X as much as I've wanted to lately because I've been working. but there's been a little bit of shift in the XRP spaces where they're welcoming Coreum conversations now. Whereas before it was very against Coreum and they didn't even want to hear it, and they were just kind of blocking out, anybody that was talking about Coreum. And now I see that door kind of opening up and people start taking interest. A little earlier, one of the things I always look at blockchains to see if I want to put some of my money in it is, are developers developing on the network, and are how many wallets there are, like how active is it? And I think it was Zen that mentioned that there's only about 5,000 wallets or so. Like, that is so young for a network that I think that with everything that's been built in 2023, and Chris, this is a shout out to you as well, because with your YouTube, with your community DAO that you have going on, that's going to bring a lot of eyes. And you guys are doing something with a robot there, which I think is kind of cool as well. I actually have to have a conversation with you about that, because I might have a pretty decent way to help you push that out. But it's like we're here, we're early. Coreum is a real blockchain. It has real promise, and I think we're gonna reap the rewards in the future if we remain patient with the whole process of getting real action on the network. But yeah, I have seen a sudden push where the XRP community is starting to open that Coreum door. Chris, do you care if I shill a little bit?
Please
Okay.
do. Please do.
So one of the things that I wanted to mention is, we're gonna move the Flip and Huddle podcast. Well, not move. We're still gonna stay on X, but we're gonna have one day out of the week. We're gonna do the podcast on TikTok, and that's me and Leo. Between us, we have almost 300,000 followers. That's gonna open up a whole nother influx of people coming over to Coreum. Because Leo is huge on TikTok. I also have a decent following, and we're gonna grow it from there. So there's not really too much Coreum talk on TikTok. So we look forward to bringing that energy and those wallets over. The other thing is, we launched Core Apes, and we were really, really successful. Shout out to the Core Ape community. But we've made real traction there. However, we all started in this from XRP, and we didn't want to lose that, and our community didn't want to lose that. So we are launching our next NFT project called Apes Anonymous. It is a 10K collection, but it's going to open up that door as well for more Coreum investors, because, okay, who are these guys that are launching the project? What are the projects that they have? Oh, they have the Core Apes based on the Coreum network. So, and that was as much as I want to shill that we are launching a project on XRP come February, but that's also more eyes. And that's just something small that me and Leo are doing. You have Chris with everything that he's doing. You have Zen Lounge. You have all these communities that are putting out information that are going to start bringing in more people and more people, more people. And like, fuck, man, I'm bullish. Like, I'm just bullish on the ecosystem that we're building. I'm bullish on the people who are running these communities, because I feel like everybody has the right mentality. And yeah, we're all running, most of us are running validators, and most of us need delegation in order to not fall behind. But it's been a very positive talk around decentralizing even the validators, and spread your Coreum throughout several validators, help decentralize the network more. Like, the message is correct, it's right, it's what should be going on, and I'm very, very happy to be part of it. But yeah, happy New Year's to everybody. I went off a little there, but I'm just bullish on the future of Coreum, and what we're all a part of here. So
Yeah, that's great, Ralphie. I appreciate you letting us know that. And how about we get you and Leo on for a podcast here? I was on yours some time ago. It was quite a pleasure to be a guest on a show for a change on the other side of the questions. But yeah, come on and tell everybody about that project that you guys are announcing there. Or when it's about to drop there. Come on and talk about it.
yeah, man, we would love to. Chris, I'm always down to jump on any podcast you're hosting, open mics, help push, what we got going on. But I could mention a little bit of the utility now that we're getting closer to the project. So what we decided to do is, and this is going to be huge for Coreum as well, because what we want is people to be able to grow their X accounts or their social media accounts in an organic way backed by community. So if you have 3,000, 4,000 people who are supporting you no matter what, even if you run a small business or you want to grow as an influencer or just in social media, well, we're integrating X with Discord. We're already on board with X. We partnered up for an API. We have the API. Our bot is currently already built. So what that means is that you're going to be able to like, repost, comment on everybody that holds one of these NFTs. You're going to be able to support them directly from Discord. You don't have to switch over to X. And it's a way for the community to support organically other holders of the NFT. So that NFT is going to give you access to that, a big community that's going to be able to support each other straight from Discord. You don't even have to leave Discord in order to support people. You could even tweet straight from Discord as well. So we want to help people build their X account. And the goal there, the biggest goal, if we could get to it, is help people monetize their X accounts. If we have 10,000 people supporting each other unconditionally, no matter what, monetization is going to start knocking on that door.
That's huge. That's a powerful tool you guys are building. That's exciting. I'm happy to be part of the Coreaves family, and I'll definitely have my eye close on that for sure. Because I could tell you, it's a grind. 1 year later on this channel, I'm celebrating where I am, but I mean, it took a lot of man hours, a lot of commitment. So any tool that the community can build and support to help up and coming people grow, it's huge, because so many good ideas get stifled by the fear or the restrictions in place to grow a community.
Absolutely. By the way, the project is not a seed round. The utility will be ready even before the project launches. That's one of the most proud things I am. Like, we didn't wait for after lunch. We didn't wait to get the money. Like, this was not cheap to do, but we sacrificed and we made sure that utility is going to be ready day one. It's already ready to go. We're in beta testing it. Well, we haven't opened up the testing, but I've tested it myself. So now we look to open a small beta testing for the community. But yeah, man, exciting stuff, man. I love these podcasts. I love what you do. I love everybody that shows up. Let's go.
NTO, I see you had your hand up. Go ahead, man.
Hey guys, just to echo Ralphie's sentiment, having been in the XRP community for close to 3 years now here, absolutely, Ralphie, the mentality of the XRP community has changed over the last even 6 months here. I remember a time when Chris here with his Coreum symbol would come in here and would get shunned. I would get shunned here.
I cleared out huge green candle space this morning real fast. Took about 2 minutes after he brought me up. It still happens, but it's getting better.
Don't worry, brother. With the Bitcoin PFP that I have here, it took a while to get accepted in it too here. But because how committed we are here in regards to crypto here, there are people who are actually looking and listening to us as we speak here. So I mean, it's just great to see the mentality has changed in the XRP community, because they were very close-minded, and if it wasn't XRP, you were nothing. So great job on keeping doing what you're doing there, Chris.
Yeah, well, I could tell you the interest is growing significantly week after week with this podcast, and it's exciting to see that momentum. And it's exciting to see once people are here, it's easy for them to see and understand what's going on. If they've been around any length of time. So it's as this community grows, it's just going to get more and more interesting, and the more we can be there to support it and guide it in a positive direction, hopefully keep a lot of that toxicity out, it just we'll all rise together in the end, I think, for sure.
I might have to take a look at changing my little B there and change it for a Coreum logo. See how that goes over the next year.
And look, I'm laughing a little bit because I know there's people that are stuck in their ways. Just like there's Bitcoin maxis and that don't want to see like ordinals happen, or they just want the traditional blockchain. There's people in the XRP community that no matter what, they don't they it's just not for them, and that's okay. We do need to understand that as well. Um, but it is exciting to see the ones that are starting to be a little more open minded to the idea of Coreum. So
Yeah, explosive growth incoming. How do you cut it up? It's just nothing but explosive growth incoming, in short order, I think.
I think that 2025, man, we're gonna all be in a huge Coreum. I know there's gonna be meetups before that, but I think 2025 is gonna be huge for our community. I think that'll give Coreum. It'll have 2 years under its belt of building, and we'll start really reaping some serious rewards.
Yeah,
But
it's going to go by fast. If the last year is any indication, I encourage anybody to get involved, whether that's just as simple as governance. But if he's taken a step further, join some of these discords. A lot of these communities, like Ralphie, they have their own Discord there. We're trying to link these all together as much as possible to make it easy for everybody to get around and interact with each other. Because the more we all communicate, the better. We all have different eyes on different things and different perspectives. So it becomes really powerful. You bring all that together.
yeah, that Discord was built amazing. Saucy did an amazing job. Amazing job. I really liked the Discord. I jumped in there and it was easy to navigate. There is a lot of channels, but it's very organized. Very, very organized. Chris, we should plan for like a maybe a community based NFT project we airdrop. What do you think about that? Free.
I'm all ears. Yeah, definitely all ears. Yeah, I've got a lot going on. I'm working with OmniFlix too, and you see Articulate over there on OmniFlix too. Yeah, for sure, man. Let's get in touch. I really love what you guys are doing over there on your podcast. I try. It's tough for me. It's always when I'm working, so it's hard for me to get in there live a lot of times. But certainly do my best to shout it out and support it because it's just another powerful tool. And you guys' TikTok presence is huge. Another one that's has a huge TikTok presence is Camel. He's really growing the Arabic community out there. So it's like you said earlier. It's
On TikTok?
all of our contributions add up to something significant here.
Camel's on TikTok?
Yeah. He's
No
it
way.
looks like he's getting pretty good traction too there. So yeah, I was gonna say, so you should reach out. He's just getting started there, I think, and it's taken off pretty quick for him.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Yeah, I had to tell him the other day.
You and Leo kindly offered me your guidance on that, and I still haven't went down that road yet. I'm still trying to get my head around doing shorter clips out of my long videos. So this podcast is going to be another one that's going to have to be clipped up. There's a lot of valuable content to share in it. So I like the long format stuff, but yeah, it's a powerful tool. You can see how the numbers grow fast over there for sure, and that's important.
Another thing that you could do is you could clip up your YouTube videos and these podcasts and just use that as content for TikTok.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just spread so thin time wise. Yeah, like I'm still working the 9 to 5 and trying to do all this, and yeah, it's just a time thing. Once that 9 to 5's gone, though, don't worry, you're gonna get a whole nother load of Coreum concepts that has been waiting to be deployed here.
Well, that's when we have a community member step up. So if anybody wants to help out Chris, somebody that has a little bit of free time and can clip up some of these videos, into 30 seconds or a minute or even a little bit longer, and somebody has time to do that, it would go a long way.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Ralphie. Right on. Well, it's been another long one here, another great one. Does anybody else want to come up and add anything? I'll get close to winding it down. Here it is. Amazing that so many people join us here on New Year's Eve. A week ago was Christmas Eve, same thing, great turnout. Hundreds have tuned in to listen to that again. There's such valuable information shared, and it's a real blessing to be surrounded by such bright minds and positive people. Well, if that's it, I'm sure it's getting close to midnight somewhere in the world right now. 13 minutes away from a countdown somewhere where I'm located. I'm about looks like just over 8 hours away. So we'll wind her down. Next week, as I said, Pulsar is going to be here. It's going to be a very powerful one also. A lot of interest on that. Excited. I do have some more I can hopefully announce soon in the weeks ahead coming up, but they're all definitely projects of great interest to the Coreum community, so stay tuned for that. I appreciate everybody's support. Articulate, thank you for co-hosting again, and I'm sorry I'm going to get that soundboard figured out, but the YouTube version will definitely have your latest song, I'm sure, as the lead, because I think it's a great way to start the new year. Great vibe, great message, and I know there's going to be a whole bunch more coming from you, so really looking forward to that. So again, thank you everybody for joining us. See you next week. Happy New Year. Be safe out there wherever you are. Peace and prosperity to y'all.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Articulates. Liberal. Studio. Check it. So many open doors, it's hard to ignore. Every year was my year, but this year I'm sure. They're on a virtual tour. Tell them a bubble to the floor. Every year was my year, but this year I'm sure. The storm is here, but it won't stay. Where there is a will, there must be a way. Me have to win, come what may. Clasp my hands every day, I pray. Nah, I can lose cause me not confused. Every time positivity me choose. So many open doors, it's hard to ignore. Every year was my year, but this year I'm sure. They're on a virtual tour. Tell them a bubble to the floor. Every year was my year, but this year I'm sure. Lyrics are pour from my heart. Tunes for you climb up the chart. Destiny create me path. Remain humble, don't exalt. Lockdown life rough. We can't do too much. Wait till COVID up. A big dance we a bus. Make sure you prepare yourself, cause when the clock strikes 12, things get dark, dark start back. You are go ball out hell. So many open doors, it's hard to ignore. Every year was my year, but this year I'm sure. They're on a virtual tour. Tell them a bubble to the floor. Every year was my year, but this year I'm sure.